Okay, thanks. No worries. No problem. Yeah, one day I might actually decide to do something around that. I just don't stream terribly often. I do want to stream more often, but I just don't. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of like later stuff. If armor merchant, hello, Mephistophe. Hello, hello. How's it going? I love a good armor merchant. Yeah, heat and cold, light and dark. We know the gist. Oop, there's a rata. Ooh, don't zoom in on that texture so close from soft. I think I've upscaled it, but still looks rough. Yeah, zoom into my character. Zoom into the protagonist, okay? I'm gonna speed run the hell out of this since I play Dark Souls 1 like nonstop, so. Well, I say play, but really it's like load up, upscale a texture, alt tab, go back. Yeah, I think Prepare to Die on its own looks pretty solid. The upscaled textures and new normal maps are certainly help, but I think by default I think it still holds up pretty well. I think Remastered does pretty decently as well. Ascended Dragon, whoa! Yoshi! Kicking it back to 2011. Yeah, that's true. This is super 2011. The game now looks really... Just fix the gameplay and all the DS2 problems. Oh yeah, I mean DS2 is... That's a whole other thing. Luckily there's already a lot of mods for DS2 that fix most of the complaints. Like the shit hitbox, well, actually, the animations haven't been fixed yet, but I hear that's coming up. How's your Thursday going? It's been all right. Honestly, I made a move recently, um, for financial reasons, and oh man, I now live with a dog, and this dog is terrible. This is just the worst dog. It's just the worst behaved dog of all time. So my cats are hating it, and yeah, it sucks ass. Hopefully they'll just get used to each other, but God, it sucks ass. How's your Thursday going? Does anything fix the invincibility frames? Well, so I mean, yeah, there's a mod that basically invalidates ADP, and basically you don't need to level it. So it basically just sets the invincibility frames to Dark Souls 1 style. Um, yeah, and so it fixes that. There's also the what's the player enhancements mod, which is basically all of the gameplay changes from the oh, what's the big DS2 mod by Yozora? Um, Set Fire of something. Whatever that big mod is, it's great. Um, Seeker of Fire 2.0. Basically, all of the gameplay changes are within the player enhancements mod, and so you get to slightly walk when you drink Estus, which is nice. Combat is a little bit faster with less ridiculous latency between sort of hits, so I think that fixes most of the issues for me. And then there's the Dead Zone mod by Half Grown Hollow, Evan, and that's pretty sick because DS2 for whatever reason used a dumbass box or a box style hitbox or box style Dead Zone is what I mean. And okay, my cat's trying to climb on something. Hey, get. I think they know I'm streaming. No, it's really weird that DS2 used a box style Dead Zone where all of the other games used a radial one, and he actually fixed it by like its exe modding. It's really cool. I have never played any DS games, just DS2. Wow. Yeah, definitely once you play the other ones, I think you'll recognize the very distinct differences. DS2 is also based on a different engine, mostly. Apparently, it has its origins in the DES, DS1 engine, but it was vastly changed, and that's why everything feels mostly completely different in terms of combat, rolling, latency, just everything is pretty different. I personally love DS2, um, but I accept a lot of the things I don't like about it. Um, but I think it's still really awesome for a lot of the things it tried, and I think the lore is really cool, and I think it has a unique feeling versus all of the other games, which is something that I think people do come to realize. But yeah, it's not without its issues. I really, the combat. Theodoro DML, hey, from in chat, what up? Just got home from work, hell yeah. Also, it's been a little, sir. I hope you had a good holiday period. Thank you, Yoshi. Yeah, it was it was a little stressful, but overall it was pretty decent. Moving during like the Christmas New Year's period, not not ideal, but I did it. Also, well, it's kind of weird because living here, I moved like 2 hours away from where I used to live, and it's kind of in the boonies, so it's really quiet. And the internet just got upgraded yesterday here to fiber internet, which I had fiber internet at my old place, but I was kind of far away from the router. So now here I should have like a really stable connection, and I would like to stream more often because I actually really enjoy it. I just like hanging out with other FromSoft fans and kind of just talking. I think some people would want me to mod on stream. I tried it, and I ended up not actually liking it, to be honest. So I saw earlier we were talking about graphic designs. It was really just the I already forgot the person's name. Uh, okay, I heard a sound. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I just have the chat up, so I don't know what that was. But thank you for whatever that was. I'm sure it was cool and it was great, and I really appreciate it, but I don't know what it was. I also have a single monitor currently. I haven't set up my second monitor yet. So I can only see chat overlaid over the game. What do graphic designers go for a drink? CGI fighter. Okay, you're going to jail for that one. That's straight to jail. I was wondering if there is a file with all the character voice line files. Yeah, I would imagine so. I have done little digging on any sort of voice line related thing, but yeah, I would assume that yeah. Um, Definitely those are stored somewhere. I have just not looked at those. There are other cooler people in the modding community that would know more about that. I would recommend posting on the server name Discord. They're a wealth of knowledge about a lot of things I don't know about yet. I wish I had fiber internet. Unfortunately, I live in the middle of rural England. Yes, I have farms and fields and no internet. Yeah, it's one of those things where I understand for internet service providers, it doesn't make a lot of sense for them to broaden out their like where their wiring actually goes, because they need a certain amount of people to sign up for it to be financially viable for them. So I do understand that. I'm lucky here that fiber ended up coming here a lot later. To be fair, I don't really need fiber to stream. Obviously, you don't really need fiber. You just need a stable connection. I'll join the Discord and ask around. Yeah, server name is a good place to. I've learned countless things, to be honest, from server name. There's just every Souls modding person ever is basically in that Discord. You can also ask the question in my personal Discord, but I think for that specific thing, it probably would be better in server name, honestly. You jabroni. This is a no-hit run, although I just got hit technically, but it was a block, right? But yeah, fiber is the only thing that actually is useful for fiber, really, at least for me, is the upload speed. is really great for like uploading videos. To be fair, it's not actually like a giant difference because I uploaded my Bloodborne one on the previous internet, and like it just takes a little bit longer, but I'm not like in a rush, you know. I'll just go make a sandwich. So it's one of those things where like it's nice to have, but it's not really necessary. You know what? And also I remember when I was way younger and you know, I'd have the new WoW expansion on, you know, a fucking DVD, and that was quicker than I should really equip my new weapon. God, this guy is not liking the broken sword. I don't know how people do the broken sword runs. I'm one of the weirdos in the FromSoft community that like I don't really care about challenge runs. Um, I don't care about watching them, and I just it just they just don't really interest me. Uh, but I'm glad that it exists and a lot of people get enjoyment out of it. But I personally just have zero interest because it feels like it's missing like a core aspect of the Souls games for me, which is repeatedly dying. And so watching the challenge runs where they just don't die, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's impressive, but I also feel like it's missing one of the core elements. And I think that's maybe why I just have a gut feeling of not caring about it, personally. I like to see someone struggle through the game. I mean, that sounds kind of mean, but I just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't find, I think that's the charm of these games is that they make you, you know, have to change up your strategy and they're difficult figuring out what to do. And, hey, what's up, Oscar? How's it going? Oscar has reflections, which is nice. The reflections are of a lower resolution than Dark Souls Remastered. That is one thing I noticed very quickly. They're pretty, like, you can see the pixelation on them. I don't actually know how to edit that. I'm fairly certain that is a shader related thing, and it is not, like, there's no param for that. So that's one where I just kind of have to accept that they're a lower resolution. And I think overall they still look pretty okay. So I'm like, eh. But yeah, Northern Undead Asylum, looking pretty good. This mod is a lot of fun to work on. I know some people are disappointed that I'm not working like a lot on the Dark Souls Remastered mod, but I've been kind of depressed about that mod a bit because there's so many bugs, and there's also people that are like, oh, this boss is dying randomly, and oh, my NPCs are dying, and I'm just like, I don't even, like, I've done everything I can in that it's not using like extra collisions and what I've been told, and like at this point I don't actually know why that is happening. Like the Gwendolyn thing has literally been going on for months and only happening to like the 3 people that have reported it, and I'm just like, I've never been able to ever reproduce like most of these glitches that people are talking about. So it's a bit depressing because you're just like, okay, I don't know how to fix that. I just honestly don't. I've hit the end of everything that should be affecting it. So I don't know. And honestly, modding Prepare to Die Edition, I've honestly been like, I don't think I'd restart my Dark Souls Remastered mod, but I do think it probably needs a lot of work because I think in translation there's been a lot lost. And I perhaps went overzealous with some of the baked lighting removal. I've been really enjoying how Prepare to Die looks. And I don't know. I'm sort of like, I mean, that's partially why I'm doing it. I work on different mod projects that I get inspiration from other things and I bring it back to the other mods. So I wish more, I think most people understand that, but there's a small community of people that see me working on something else and then immediately assume, well, he's abandoning everything else. It's like, no, it's not a zero-sum game, right? Like, I learn something from every mod I work on, and I promise you, it has helped me in every other mod. So, but yeah, unfortunately, there's always that very small community. Oh, I don't think I've ever biffed it and actually just straight up died doing that. Well, I didn't heal that whole time. I also have my HUD off because I always mod with my HUD off because I got to take screenshots. Oh, yeah, I never adjusted the sounds. How are the game sounds? Are they too quiet? Like the hitting the wall and shit? Is that the walking? Music is also pretty low. But yeah, let me know if, you know, let me know if that's okay. Yeah, the reflections in here are nice. I also added reflections to where the stray demon is. I did that a couple days ago, which was pretty sick nasty. Pretty, oh, that's right, we gotta go through here. It's pretty subtle, but I can't actually hear any of the game sounds myself. Okay, that is probably what's happening. Let's try that. Okay, that was my cat. You may have heard that. Beastie Boy, what are you doing? What's up? Is that any louder? I mean, I would hope it's louder. I turned it up from 3 to 7. Hop on the bed, dog. Yeah, that should make a good noise if I when I rest. And yeah, they're still very quiet. Wow, okay. Thank you for that. I shall let's crank it up to 10. And then now that they're up at 10, I can just go to OBS if they're still quiet. I think I do have the desktop sounds reduced just a tad, but not like a ton or anything. Yeah. Let me know if that's any louder. And then I'll go to my OBS and jack with that. I'm beginning to believe they aren't actually quiet, and I just can't hear them at all. Oh, that's weird. Is it not picking up game audio? Oh, well, I guess I should open up. No, it shows up on my OBS that there is sound going through the desktop audio. So, okay. Weird. Let me... Okay, I changed the audio mixer to no longer reduce desktop audio at all. But there is actually sound going through OBS here. Can confirm no audio. Oh, well that sucks. I wonder why. I don't know. Wonder if Prepare to Die is just weird, in that it. Yeah, it's going through. Oh. Oh, maybe that's what it was. Maybe I had the channels wrong. I turned the track on. I'll look at it. It's difficult because I use different settings for recording gameplay and videos, so the difference between them. Okay, no game audio. All right. So global audio devices, yes. Desktop audio, I think is just speakers, right? I'm pretty sure. Low latency. Yep, 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 yep. Okay, output, streaming. Oh, I can't change that while I'm streaming. Well, that does add up. There we go. Now super loud. Oh, got it. Okay, got it, got it. Yeah, it was a track issue. Yeah, that's my bad. I turned it down to 5 in the game, so let me know how loud that is. And then I can just lower it again. Oh, I'm mid-rolling. That's hideous. Yeah, I don't really want to be naked, though. Still loud. Oh my god. Prepare to die. What are you doing? My gosh. Oh, maybe that's why I had it down at 3. Okay. Now it's down at 3. Let's see if that's any better. If it's still loud, then I'll go down to like 1. It's crazy. Well, actually, let me go back to my OBS. I think my reduction in desktop audio was probably a solid idea. So, okay. Let's see how that is. Let's progress. Love this little reflection that I added. Very nice. Love seeing the gray sky. Oh, wait. Oh, I already did this. Why did... Oh, that's because I died. That's right. I'm so bad at multitasking. I'm such a bad streamer. Okay. Killed your bitch ass. Can you drop something? No, okay. That's fair. Alright. Let's go back and fuck up. Now it's okay. Still high for my personal taste. Got it. Okay. No biggie. I can fix that. Maybe Prepare to Die is weird. I put it down to 1 now. And I'm lowering the audio in OBS as well. So, fingers crossed. Maybe they're just blasting ears with this game, you know? Well, actually, we kind of know that that's true. Like the lava sounds and the water. Oh, it's terrible. You gotta lower those noises. Okay, guys. Thank you. Spin move. I get my soul. Oh, they put it outside the fog door. That's actually pretty generous. They don't do that very often. Yoink. The only game I can parry in is Dark Souls 1. I cannot successfully or routinely parry in basically any other FromSoft game except for Bloodborne and Sekiro. Sekiro because obviously. But Bloodborne, ooh, the gun parries, I actually got pretty good at that. Ooh, ugly fog walls. Okay. I'm going to let him try to smack me. Yeah, jump up, dog. Just try and get me. Oh, shit. Oh, wow, he actually did hit me. Okay. Ah, fuck. Okay. Alright. Oh, shit. I actually tried, I looked at the Asylum Demon's textures, because I was like, but probably 2 is the sweet spot. Got it. I'm on it. Right now I'm busy up in someone's gooch. No, I tried looking at his texture, and turns out that they're already 2K resolution. And I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's why they look pretty good, actually. You're literally just putting your asshole right in my face. And I do not... Oh, shit. I fought you 5,000 bajillion times. Oh, shit. Okay, he tagged me. Yeah, bitch ass. Alright. Let's go. Okay, now it's up to 2. I got the big pilgrim. Actually, now that I think about it, I need to read the big pilgrim key. Key to the inner door of the undead asylum main hall, belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim. But this chosen undead knows not what this pilgrimage has in store. I've literally never read that key, despite playing the game for like 1,000 hours. Big key belonging to a chosen undead pilgrim. Um, well, that's not talking about me though, because I mean it belongs to me now, but it didn't originally, right? Where's Vati at? Let me know, Vati. Oh, this door's looking spicy though. New texture, looking pretty good. Man, working on Prepare to Die edition though, very quickly, I realized that there's a ton of surfaces, maybe half, that don't have normal maps or specular maps at all. They are literally just the albedo texture or diffuse texture. That's it. It's crazy. So Dark Souls Remastered, big upgrade on that. Although in a lot of cases, Dark Souls Remastered actually didn't do anything with the specular map. It was just there. But the nice thing is you had the ability to do something with it. In Prepare to Die, I have had no success thus far adding a normal map to something that did not have one prior. The game simply does not accept that. You can change the material settings to use one that uses bump mapping, which, you know, I mean, I understand I have to do that, but it still doesn't work. It just will look completely fucked. And yeah, it kind of sucks. I have not figured my way around that yet. One day, maybe. Luckily, a lot of the important surfaces do have normal maps, which is nice. But yeah, remastered they made everything have a normal map and a specular map. I think they had an automated process though for it, because that's how we ended up with some issues. I think. Also, it's nice to have a cutscene that looks normal and not busted like my remastered mod. Thank you for dropping me off, my dude. Also, it's funny, when I skipped that, you could actually see the game altering the shadow X and Y coordinates to whatever it is from the cutscene to this very quickly there. Thank you. The other thing you'll notice, of course, is the grass does not move in Prepare to Die Edition. That was a change in Remastered, where they used a vertex shader, and that's how they moved them. So that's a bummer that you can't really backport that to Prepare to Die Edition. Yeah, that's just not a thing. Although it's not that it doesn't support shaders, it obviously does. It's just DirectX 11 versus 9, and I don't know anything about shaders, so how's it going, homie? But yeah, Firelink Shrine, I think, looks sick as hell. You know, it's the standard Firelink Shrine. I've not adjusted the lighting settings at all. Yeah, there's no tree in that cutscene. Yeah. There is a way to fix that, but I have to, like, I mean, it's something I have to do anyway, where I have to learn the way they handle cutscenes, and they use certain draw groups for it, and they just seemingly forgot to put the tree in the cutscene, which is funny, but I'm not really surprised by any of the errors at this point. I've seen so many mesh holes and glitches and render issues, and oh, great graham cracker, what up? What is going on, big dog? I'm gonna call everyone big dog, by the way. But yeah, Firelink Shrine honestly looks great. You know, you got the OG aesthetic. Prepare to Die goes so hard on depth of field. I fucking love it. But I'm a hoe for depth of field, and I understand there's a decent chunk of people who don't like depth of field, but I have not altered that at all. That is just, it is outrageously used in the best way possible. But the dynamic shadows honestly worked really well. I was able to add it to most things. The benefit is that Firelink Shrine doesn't have any torches, and those light sources don't interact with dynamic shadows at all. The dynamic shadows basically just cover up any of the illumination, and it's a shader problem. and that's just kind of how they're set up. But yeah, I think Firelink still looks really sick with the dynamic shadows on most everything, and the improved normal maps, like on this cobblestone here. I think it looks a lot better. It shows like a little bit of depth, even though, you know, there is no actual parallax. It's obviously just a flat texture, but I still want a copy of Prepare to Die, but I don't want to pay the near 80 bucks. Yes, so Yoshi, if you DM me on Discord, I have the hookup. And I will give you a link, and it is a Steam version, and you just download it. So at this point, I'm like, Bandai Namco, y'all delisted it. So, like, you've given us no way of buying it. Because I would give you money for it. Sheesh. Like, y'all took it away. For the dumbest reason. Like, I understand you were like, we want to sell remastered, but, like, I think you still would have sold remastered just fine. Like, the Prepare to Die edition, maybe you guys were embarrassed by it because it was a really shit-ass port. It was just terrible. You know, FromSoft is not good at PC ports. I mean, now they're obviously vastly better. But, like, Prepare to Die is terrible in most ways. So, and the modders fixed 99% of the things that were wrong with it. So, I think they were quite possible. Okay, you know what? I don't want to die here. I think they were just embarrassed by it as well. So they were like, you know what? Let's have our version, and it's also going to be sloppy. But it's our sloppy. It doesn't even make sense when the OG DS2 is still available. Yeah, I think that is a bit strange. I think the argument you could make for OG DS2 is that it's different enough that they're two different experiences, but I do side on the side of, like, I think it is weird that they didn't delist the DS2. I'm glad that they didn't. You know, I want to be clear about that. I am glad that they didn't delist it, but I do think it's an odd case of, like, okay, I'm pretty sure Scholar was like, that was the version you guys were going with, of course, and like it was DX11 based, you know, and so it does seem weird to me. I don't really know why they kept the original up, but did you hear they're ending the, yes. Yeah, that they announced. I honestly think that they supported them for like 10 years. I think that's pretty good. I might be in the minority on that, but I'm not actually mad at them or anything for stopping that. Like, personally, I don't know how much work goes into maintaining those servers. I would imagine not a crazy amount, but I also think the player base on PS3 and 360 had to be pretty minuscule. Yeah, chilling in Firelink that's a vibe. It's so good. I could just hang out here. It's so good. Yeah, it's a lot better than many AAA companies. Yeah, I think 10 years. And like, I remember it was last year, they posted something of like, hey, we're taking down the DS2 servers on PS3 360 for maintenance. And I was like, wait, they're still up? Are you fucking kidding me? I admittedly was surprised. Because like, those consoles are just totally dead, you know. I mean, I still play the original Demon Souls on PS3 sometimes. But I don't actually hold that against FromSoft for stopping the servers on those, because I think you have ways of playing all of those games. Like, DS1 and DS2 are very playable on other platforms. I think Demon Souls is sort of the occurrence where, like, no, you can't play the original Demon Souls on anything except for a PS3. Well, emulation, obviously, but it's just also nice that you can still play those versions. Yeah, exactly. They don't have any sort of like online, you know, forcing you to be online. They had that built-in like offline, you know, mode, right? And so that is very nice. And I think it's okay for people to experience them without the messages. You still get like the dev messages, you know. But no, I don't really hold that against FromSoft. I think 10 years is pretty good, honestly. By the way, something you could try is copying the cube map reflections cube map reflection textures from Remaster prepare to die. Oh, that's a good call. Okay, yeah, yeah. I like that tip. Thank you. Yeah, the cube maps, yes. The way that they handle like the reflections, like the actual like water reflections, those are, I think, just planar reflections, right? From what I remember, that's mostly what FromSoft relied on for like Bloodborne and yeah, yeah. Which, you know, hey, shout out to planar reflections. I know they're more expensive, but they hold up really well. I understand why most people went to like, I mean, cube maps are not a solution on their own, personally, because I think they're pretty. I mean, you can have high resolution cube maps, but I think the current like popular method, of course, is like screen space, and then your fallback is a pretty decent cube map, and I think that's a pretty good middle ground, honestly. The screen space ones, I don't like the artifacts that come from them. You know, some of them are unavoidable, but certainly some games do it better than others. I was very surprised by how bad Jedi Survivor handled their screen space reflections. Like, the occlusion from them is so fucking terrible. Yeah, I mean, I think if I had my choice, it probably would be a high quality cube map. I think screen space, there's just too many downsides that come with them. That because of the way reflections just inherently work, I think it becomes so obvious when at a certain angle they disable, right? Or something's in the front of the camera. Like, I don't know. It's like if FromSoft was able to do planar reflections, now admittedly, you could make the argument that the rest of their game wasn't terribly graphically, like, intensive, so maybe that's why they got away with planar reflections. I could see that. But I will say there was God, what was that game last year that was like set in an alternative Russia with like steampunk aesthetic and like flying cars and shit. I can't remember the name of it. First person shooter thing. They actually used planar reflections. It was nice to see because I think they were Unreal 4 based. Atomic Heart, yeah. Yeah, they use planar reflections, and I loved when people would start playing it, and they'd be like, oh shit, I didn't know this had ray tracing. And I'm like, no, it's not ray tracing. It's planar reflections. Shout out to planar reflections. They're fucking awesome, and they are expensive. But I think people were forgetting that, like, yeah, just because it's a good reflection doesn't mean it's ray tracing. There are other solutions. Like, there's also that, because I'm not like a graphics, expert by any means. I'm just a fucking nerd. But the other option that a lot of games would do for like their mirrors, right, is that they would do like a render to texture solution. And honestly, it was really effective. I think it worked really well. And I don't know. I think they're sort of relying on ray tracing as like the ultimate solution for, like cancer, poverty, all the differences in the world we're going to solve with ray tracing. I'm kind of like, I think it's cool. I think people are I think they're mistaking the real benefit to ray tracing is like a lot of devs would kind of use it offline anyway to sort of make your baked like global illumination and a lot of things, and you could bake it. But I think some of the ways of like the real-time ray tracing is that you can they can iterate a lot faster. And just ray tracing in general basically removes some of the need for developers to, like, rasterization is literally just faking everything. It's like, it's a lot of work to get things to look the way that you want, and the lighting, and so ray tracing can kind of speed that up for the developer in terms of like how light bounces off things. So I think that's more so where I'm focused, that I think it's really cool. But I think it's just like any kind of gimmicky technology. I think it gets overused and used in a really poor fashion. Like Lords of the Fallen was Unreal 5 based, but I don't know. I thought it didn't look great a decent chunk of the time. Like, there were periods of time where it did look good, and I was like, oh man, look at that art design. But there was equal amounts of time where it just didn't look so hot, and it kind of looked ugly, and the art design was pretty crappy, and I was surprised by how bad the physics were. I was like, what the? This is 2023, and we got some real bad physics here. Like the actual way that you would go through crates and barrels. Oh my god, hey, jabronis. God, mid-roll is terrible. That's why I posted on Twitter, I think a couple days ago, where I'm like, FromSoft, like, yeah, almost all of it is Havoc based. Not all, but I would say the vast majority are Havoc based. But I think it's how you use that tool, and honestly, a lot of the destruction physics that you'll have in Dark Souls 1, hell, even fucking Demon Souls, the way that the actual like map pieces or objects crumble, and all the different parts, and they like react to your momentum a little bit, and it, to be honest, to my eye, it was vastly superior to Lords of the Fallen's implementation of whatever, either it was the Unreal in-house like physics type thing. Trying to figure out where in the world people still say jabroni. Oh yeah, I say it every once in a while. Yeah, I don't know where. I think it's New Jersey. Isn't that the origin of that in some way, or the Northeast of the U.S.? I don't know where the origin really is of that, but I thought it was the Northeast. But I like using it every once in a while. I'm like, these jabronis, you know, these absolute jabronis, because it's. I guess for me, it can kind of be a positive thing or not. But then again, I just say a lot of random shit that I've taken from all over the country. But New Jersey sounds like where that would come from, if I had to bet. I've yet to play Lords of the Fallen, and I feel that's best due to all I've heard. It was quite rocky at start. Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth trying. Personally, I found it to be like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. I had some fun with it, but I'm pretty well known as a Lords of the Fallen disliker. It is very sloppy, and they learned, and this is all in my opinion, of course, not factual. I think they learned the wrong things from Dark Souls 2. Now, of course, they've pared down the enemy density. Which I would say is more of a sign than anything that the people that were complaining about that, like, were we right? Like, the developer agreed and was like, all right, we got to tone down the enemy density, and they toned down how they had perfect aim, and how there was too many ranged people, and you know, like, a lot of that ended up getting changed. I tried non-FromSoft Souls-likes with Code Vein once and got scarred. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the biggest recommendation I can give people is Lives of P, which is admittedly sort of a meme at this point that everyone says that, but it really is true. Lives of P was just a love letter to From Software. So if you love From Software games, like, it is the closest that we've ever gotten to a company that is not FromSoft making a Souls game. And, you know, some people can rightfully criticize that for, like, oh, you know, they took the easy route. I'm like, I think that's a simplification, like oversimplification, because if you play it, most of the people I've seen complain about Lies of P either haven't really played much of it, but, you know, of course, if they don't like it, that is totally okay. But they would say, oh, it was too hard. And I'm like, I've played all of the games a lot, and I think I'm a fair judge of, like, difficulty, because I'm not great at FromSoft games. You know, I'm not the no-hitter kind of person, and I found Lies of P very challenging overall, but I found it within the normal realm of FromSoft challenge. Like, I found Sekiro to be still the most difficult, but I understand there's people out there that are like, oh, Sekiro is the easiest game for me, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's the majority opinion on that, but Yeah, exactly. I think the first time you play it, yeah, I remember when I went back to, well, Dark Souls 1 was my first Souls game. It was like 2021, I think, is when I actually like legit got into them. And yeah, I had a really tough time where now it's been trivialized by the other things I've played. Not to say, like, obviously, if anyone has watched any of my modding videos, I still die in Dark Souls 1. I think Dark Souls 1 has one of the best, like, the enemy AI and the encounter design and the placement. I think it's, like, especially the first half, in Undead Burg specifically, I guess, is just so well tuned to punish you for getting lazy. Like, just, it's just, the enemies are so good at fucking you over. I think he went with the barrel. Yeah, because you don't use debug. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't use debug. I've installed it before, you know? Oh, oh, what the fuck? Oh, I think we found a little draw group thing. Oh, you love to see it. That's the first time that's ever happened. Yep, draw group issue. I guess he did a tiptoe into an area where... How do I kick you in here? Is that... No? Okay. Oh, it's like just on the... I've never actually experienced that. What the fuck? Hey, get... I wonder if it's those weird collisions that are like 7001. They use them for like stairs. Well, okay, I don't know. Man, there must be like some fucking weird overlap. Yeah, I've installed the debug mode for all of the different games, and the only one I actually use is Demon Souls. And I think that's because the Demon Souls one is basically full featured, and I can change params live while I'm still in game, and to me that is just so incredibly useful. And actually I've used that to learn more about the params for DS1, because they're pretty much identical with a few changes here and there. But that's the only one I really actually use. The other ones I don't know. I feel like I'm a better modder, and it's just for me personally, because I mod as I play the game. I don't know. I think I found a lot of mesh holes and different things because I have to like actually go through it. Oh, free cam built in. That is actually a pretty good point. I would like that. Yeah, the remastered one disappointed me when I installed it, and then I expected, for whatever fucking reason, I expected to get the same control as I did in the Demon Souls one, and that was not the case. The param editing, it just isn't there. I'm like, damn. But which is fine, I can just do it in DS Map Studio. But it was so cool. Now, because in the Demon Souls one, the save function doesn't really work. At least not reliably. So I still have to edit it in DS Map Studio, but it's pretty easy because I can just keep them both open. And then on my other monitor, I just go do the changes I just did if they worked. And so iteration on Demon Souls is a lot of fun. That's kind of why I go back to work on it every once in a while, just because, I don't know, it's just a really cool debug mode that works really well. Okay. Is this the one where you're gonna like fucking go sicko mode and kill me? No, I don't give up easy. Oh, you just do L3, R3. Oh shit. Huh. Wow. Damn, I might have to do that. I'll have to down patch again, but that's fine. I would like free cam. I've ended up using Cheat Engine to do it when there was like a draw group issue and it's for an object that's like way out of view. So I would just use Cheat Engine and go free cam to see what the fuck was rendering and what wasn't. But built in, yeah, that's gonna be way nicer. All right, Taurus Demon. This guy used to give me so much trouble. I'm talking shit, and this is where he's gonna like kill me, but I'm gonna knock you off again. What's up, jabroni? Also, I'll say the Taurus Demon, like his fur and like his textures, looks really good. I think that holds up pretty well. I've noticed, at least on the bosses, that like they use pretty good textures for him. It was 2K resolution for the Taurus Demon, and I was like, hell yeah, dog. They would use 2K textures for some things. Even Demon Souls did that. Every once in a while there'd be like a 2K texture. I'm like, what the fuck? Y'all were releasing on a 720p console, just so you know. Also, L3 gives you speed up and no gravity and holding. Oh shit! Oh, the Demon's Great Axe. Oh shit, that's such a rare drop. I've only gotten that like one other time off Taurus Demon. Fuck. Clap indeed. Hell yeah. I remember the first time I got that, I was like, oh shit, I didn't even know that was a possibility. Damn, A scaling? I mean, that's like one of the greatest weapons in the game right there. For like raw damage output. But yeah, the strength requirement, woof. Woof, woof, woof. How ugly is it? Which reminds me of something I don't like in Bloodborne, where if you don't have the stats, you can't even like equip the weapon. Ugh, that sucks, man. That's one of the few things in Bloodborne where I'm like, damn, that shit sucks. Y'all gotta change that. Never. Or change that in the remaster. Whenever you guys do that. There's some other changes, like I think the price for blood chunks using insight becomes ridiculous, or it just starts ridiculous. Where I think there's blood, isn't it bloodstone, blood shard stone? I don't remember the name of all the upgrade materials, but there's like the first one, the second one, and then there's the chunks. But the chunks are like 20 insight each, and then the other one before it is like 3. And I'm like, okay, FromSoft, what are we doing? That seems unfair, but my small criticisms of Bloodborne. I'm actually pretty okay with like the blood vial healing system. I know some people hate it, but I know you have to like farm for them, and I get that shit sucks, but I don't know. I feel like my Bloodborne playthroughs that I do now, it's probably because I've just played it before. I don't find myself running out of blood vials terribly often. And they drop off fucking everyone, so it's like, I mean, it's obviously just like Demon Souls, and I always felt like that was, but the difference there is Demon Souls had all those different types, and so it would kind of suck if you only had the shittiest kind, because you're like, damn, this shit does not heal at all. But blood vials are like a set percentage, and I'm like, canonically it makes sense. Of course they could have done like a blood flask. I wouldn't be surprised if early on in development or at some point there was some sort of Estus flask. I don't think that would be outrageous. Yeah, what's up, Solaire? How's it going? Also, your ending is really sad, so in my other save I put you out of your misery, but although you're happy right now. Oh, I should probably level. Okay, yeah, let me get to this next bonfire. Yeah, that slime still looks like... Oh, shit. Oh, he's gonna be pissed. He's pissed. Okay, he's pissed. Yeah, can you be cool? Can you chill? Can you let me get to my bonfire in the middle here? It'd be real nice. And also my claymore, because this is a claymore household. Also, I gotta fix these. I keep forgetting to look at the albedo texture, because I'm assuming that's where these are at, because they're not in the light map, so it just looks weird. It might be in the specular, but from what I remember, this texture does not have its own specular, in Prepare to Die at least. I think they're supposed to look like burn thingies, but then you'll see up here on this texture, there's just a really weird small portion that's like fucking blue. Like, there's just so many texture issues in Dark Souls 1. The amount of UV mapping fuckery. Oh, yeah, there's more down here. What in the fuck is... Oh, is that still rendering the shadows from up above? Oh, fuck. That's annoying. Yeah, it despawns the items up above. Gets the Demon Great Axe, one of the highest damage weapons in the game. This is a Claymore household. Yeah, okay, let me alter that statement. This is a Claymore household if I'm feeling like a basic bitch and I get no other drops and I just want to mod and have a decent weapon. That's the longer statement. I always do find it boring when people do like their 50th run of DS1 and they're like, I'm gonna get the Claymore again. I'm like, man, can we switch this up? Do the Uchi. Do something else, dog. Like, Claymore is good, but it's also fucking boring, man. Zweihander can be kind of fun too. Yeah, I guess this one I'll work up to the Demon Axe. I guess this will be my Steam or Stream character, not Steam. Jagged Ghostblade, underrated. Oh, I've never used that. Yeah, I gotta use more of the weapons. I've gotten into using like bleed weapons a little bit. I love rerunning the game with the silliest weapons. Yeah, I think that is certainly fun for me. Unfortunately, I've always thought like, oh, I should probably do a magic run at some point, but man, I just don't. I've just never been a magic user in any game I've ever played. I just don't. I don't like ranged. Like MMOs I would play, Elder Scrolls games. Yeah, magic just doesn't do it for me. I played an Elden Ring character up until like Renala with magic, and I was like, I fucking hate it. I just don't like it. And so I've given up on that more or less. Also, I kind of understand what FromSoft was thinking. Is actually a great soul level 1. Oh shit. Yeah, I've never done like a soul level 1 weapon kind of thing. But I could see that. I could see... Does the Jagged Ghostblade, I'm assuming it has bleed on it? Just by the Jagged name on it? Because bleed would help a lot. Even if it's a butter knife and it causes bleed. Hell yeah, that's workable. But I think I get where FromSoft was coming with not having the souls being able to pop multiple. I think they were like, oh, well, we just assume they're going to put them on their bar because we already do it automatically. It has bleed, E scaling. Oh, okay. But the base damage is pretty sick. Yeah, that's workable. You do that. But yeah, I think FromSoft was like, oh yeah, well, we just shove it on their bar automatically. So instead of going in the menu, just put it on your, just put it on the fucking quick items. And so they didn't see the use for maybe multi-use, but it's the same as Demon Souls. Hell yeah, dog. Yeah, in this area, I turned off the shadow casting for these objects because it ended up looking really fucking weird. And so I've had to be just really... Oh no, is that bag still floating? Oh, fucking just barely. I've gone through most of the game and basically manually lowered all of the objects because FromSoft is just... They have most of their objects floating just slightly. Or sometimes really noticeably. Even in Sekiro, I found one. And I was like, damn it. Come on, guys. Also, I like in DS3, they added the ability to actually hit the bonfire. They added like a collision to it. I thought that was cool. What was I doing? I was leveling up. That's right. God bless leveling up at bonfires. And can hit ghosts for free. Oh, shit. That would be nice. I think, can't you do that if you're cursed as well? Like they take half your health and then you're like, okay, now I can hit ghosts. I didn't know that until like last week. I was like, oh shit. That's pretty sick. I mean, I still hate having half health, but you know. And some people complain about the curse mechanic because I think it was even more brutal, like originally. Because I think it would like keep lowering your health or something, closer to DS2 style. They patched a lot of stuff for Dark Souls 1 to like make it easier, but which I'm okay with. I don't know. I think that some of the FromSoft community gets a little like they get a little weird about anytime they do like a hot fix that is seen as a nerf, and they like freak out, make it their whole personality that they beat the game before it was patched or something. And I'm like, okay. Maybe FromSoft actually did see it and go, that wasn't intended. But they make it into like this whole conspiracy that they're listening to the people that are complaining. And it's like, well, they're not immune to player feedback. I think they're less like communicative than other developers. My friend played through the unpatched version and lost Izalith as unplayable. No, the dragon butt's aggro? No. Okay, that is pretty bad. I mean, Izalith is just an absolute Like, I mean, Miyazaki in interviews has just openly said, he's like, I apologize. The game is not finished. Like, DS1 is just not a finished game. And the more time I've spent modding it, yeah, it's only confirmed that. There's so many like errors and rendering mix-ups and draw group issues and mesh holes and UV mapping fuckery, and like there's so many issues. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy that like none of those ever got patched. And I find it weirder that Q-Lock didn't really fix anything from the modding that I've done between the two versions and playing the PS3 version and then playing that really old pre-release build. Like, legit, the issues are there from the beginning and then they were never fixed. So I find that weird. Either they never saw them or they just assume that, like, who gives a shit, you know? To be fair, okay, well, I deserve that. I will always run through Lost Isles. Yeah. Yeah, I have areas like that in some of the games where I go, you know what? I did my time. I did my fucking time. I did my one time. I'm gonna take the easy way. Blighttown is usually that, where I just take the quick way. Because I go, like, I've done the other way. I just did the classic way through the depths while modding this version, because I was like, well, I need to actually, like, go through it and upscale as I go. Instead of just doing, like, bulk upscaling, you know? Because some textures actually don't need upscaling. I think that's one of the different... Oh, buddy, you got a little overexcited there. I respect the hustle, but goddamn. But yeah, there are some textures that are like pretty okay, and I think that's maybe one of the differences with my texture work is that I'm not going through and just like 4x on fucking everything, right? Sorry for bothering you. I want to. No. Yeah, bot. Damn. How do I open up? Let me open up Twitch. Let's open up mine channel. It is muted, thank God. Okay, how do I? Okay, add guest, timeout, ban, manage suspicious user. They have been restricted. Oh, timeout. Yeah, I'm gonna ban the hell out of you. Get the hell out of here. No, I don't need that. I always get that where I get a bot like that, or I get someone who wants to like design stream stuff, and I'm like, have you watched my YouTube videos? I have a pretty busted production, so I'm pretty okay with that. That's also like a feature of my channel is that. Oh, also I did fix the mesh hole over here, this little triangle. I fixed that like a couple days ago. I honestly forgot that the Blender Soulstruck plugin got updated for Prepare to Die Edition. Or early support of it, at least. I was like, oh shit, hell yeah. So that's been fun. I love running through like that in Brightstone. Brightstone Cove, Seldora, or whatever. Not a big fan. I get lost. There's a lot of DS2 areas I don't really care about, but I don't think that's exactly shocking information for anyone. But yeah, not a big fan. Wait, where's that light coming from? God, oh shit. I think I know what I need to do. I need to set backface rendering to be on for this, because as you can tell, well, that's light. Oh, is that correctly? No, that is still going through the staircase here. I'm pretty sure. Like, there's a hole up there, but hold on a second. I will do this in the background. Let's go to map 1001. Oh, fuck, I'd have to find. Screw it. I'll fix it later. That's fine. Let me get the cursor off screen. Yeah, classic backface rendering problem. That's the other thing. There's so many like shadow issues in this game because of the way that they handle shadows, the dynamic ones just fly through every map piece. And so it just looks awful. And it's a delicate like dance with the way they were handling it. It's crazy. Yeah, what's up, dog? How's it going? I think I've fired maybe 2 arrows in the entirety of DS1 playthroughs. I just don't care about it at all. Oh, hand axe, nice, nice. I know the layout of Brightstone like the back of my hand because I run it completely. Yeah, there is definitely a quick route that I have mistakenly found. Oh, reinforced club. That's got bleed on it, right? Oh shit. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. C scaling. We have bleed. Low item or low stat requirements. I'll never know what that message says there. Oh, he also has 1, 2, 3, 4 plates, floating, admittedly, but like FromSoft doesn't get enough credit that like all of the books fly off, and then that little vase right there, and then like I don't know that the way that they handle their havoc physics, I think, is really good, better than they get credit for. Because there's a lot of games that use havoc physics, but let me tell you, it doesn't work that well. Because like Lies of P is an example of like they didn't do fucking anything with their physics. It's pretty boring. Like that's a criticism I definitely have of that game, where it's like I get that they were going for more like quality over quantity, and so their goal was not to get too weird and expansive with a lot of things, and so it's like super linear. It's the most linear Souls-like, I think, ever. But it's also like really good linear, so that's kind of the benefit, is that it's just really fucking good linear, which I'm okay with. I don't think everything needs to be like interconnected, and I think the sort of hybrid approach is your DS3. Well, really, Bloodborne I think is probably the really good example of like really cool shortcuts, and the areas like connecting, but it's not like all interconnected, and so it's a good balance between the two. And then DS2 is just completely like I don't know, it feels like they just, and because I think that's exactly what they did, is they had to just sew these areas together. Oh fuck me, see, I can still get myself in trouble in this game. That's what I love about it. No matter how much I've played this game, I can still 100% get myself into fucking trouble. I think the enemy design and like the AI of DS1 is just so fucking good. It's timeless. And it's weird that the more that I've played the game, because I've played it so many times, I'm still getting unique things happening. I think that's why randomizers are probably the coolest and the most fun with DS1. The way that it interacts and the pathing, and like it's just absolute brilliance. I'm not sure if they just accidentally landed on this brilliance, but regardless, it's here because it's just so much fun. And I think that's why it's infinitely replayable for me. It's just always, there's always different things, and the enemies always are slightly different, and their mob mechanics, and like, I don't know, it's, oh, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, oh my god, like Demon Souls I can kind of fly through. I think I got all the way, I was doing an item randomized run, and I got all the way to Elant without dying, and I ended up killing him without dying either, because actually, once you know how Elant functions, it's really easy. It's hard to like unknow that, because his moveset is just really like restricted. I wish they would do a remake of DS1 and DS2 in their modern engine. Yeah, I think DS2 is one where I don't know that that's possible, because I think DS2 is purely a product of its horrendous development. And I think for remakes or remasters, well, remaster could work because you're just working on what the game already is. You're just reworking like the assets. But I think a remake, if you're gonna go to the trouble to remake something, I think you need a more definitive base game to work off of. And I think DS2, the version we got, is not really their intended version. And I think the other problem is their intended version just never existed in the amount that would be necessary. And you also would have people that are going, well, wait, this isn't the DS2 that I like. And, I just think at that point you just make a new game. I don't know. So on DS2, I just don't see ever seeing them touch that again because it's so compromised. Yeah, I mean, I know. I love DS2, I really do. But I think having modded it for as long as I did, and I still am, but knowing the stories behind development, I just don't think there's enough. Like, maybe they have hidden design documents that lay out exactly what the game was supposed to be. Because from what we know, they really had to make do with what they had already worked on. And that's why the areas feel like they're just sewn together in no, not in like a really meaningful, good way. Literally, you just walk until you get to the next area and you're like, oh, well, okay, that's completely different, but whatever. Like, it doesn't need to make sense. And I think it gave DS2 a dreamlike quality that I think is actually really cool. Like, I love going from Earthen Peak to the Iron Keep. It makes no fucking sense, but I love it. I think it's cool. I think games don't have to make sense. I think that's probably my larger point, is it's a made-up game in a made-up universe. Like, so I don't think it needs to make sense, but now that we know the story behind Dark Souls 2, or some of it, it's just the product of its development. And I don't know. I don't think there's any right way to do it. I think it'd be, oh, fuck my ass. Shit my ass. Okay, well, I got clutch rolls right now. Okay, well, I got gangbang there. That's going up on Pornhub later. I'm gonna upload that. It's gonna get 100,000 views. Yeah, rip. Woof. I think is that my second death? I mean, I'm not counting. I don't remember, but no, I don't think Dark Souls 2 is I just don't think it's a good candidate. I still want to know what Vendrick stole from the Giants. Yeah, that's a bit that's a bit unknown, right? Because I was pretty dumb with the DS2 lore when it was only by like watching a video, or maybe it's when I did another playthrough and I actually read like the Lost Giant Soul, and I was like, oh, I somehow never connected that was the giant lord or whatever, that when you go in the memories or whatever that you kill there, like that is who the last giant was. And I'm like, oh, well, I'm dumb. I just, for whatever reason, didn't connect it, But I don't know. I think DS2 is really cool for what it is. Like, I think it's such a fundamentally weird game, and it's such a product of its development that I think if you removed that element, I don't know. I don't think it's not going to feel like Dark Souls 2, the one we actually got. So, yeah, I don't know. That one I think is more difficult. Dark Souls 1 is an easy candidate for remake. 1,000%. I think you got a big market there. I think it's seen as easily one of the best games of all time. And I think it's pretty, like, the issues with Dark Souls 1 isn't that they had to like scrap half the game or something. Like, the issues with Dark Souls 1 are like the things I've been going through, like mesh holes and UV mapping, and you do have Izalith where it was like originally supposed to be a swamp, so like, yeah, you could try to like go in the design docs, and preferably I would have Miyazaki involved with any sort of like remake, but I don't think Miyazaki has any interest in that, really. The memory thing is just so cool in my opinion. Yeah, I actually really like the memories. I think Dark Souls 2 had so many really cool ideas, honestly. I think it just had so many cool ideas. And a lot of them worked, and I think some didn't. I personally think the Dark Souls 2 devs were under, well, I mean, we know that they were under immense pressure to follow up Dark Souls 1. And I think their method of adding difficulty is not my way of adding difficulty. It's not my favorite way, which is commonly like, okay, our enemy AI isn't terribly good, so we need to compensate by putting a lot of enemies there. And they would kind of continue that through most of the game. They had to rely on that because the actual enemy AI just really wasn't that good. It was a step back from Dark Souls 1, arguably, and a step back from, I think, even Demon Souls. And it's also because they made a really unfortunate bet on that new engine. Like when they were talking about the Dark Souls 2 engine, they're like, oh, it's going to allow us to do all this new stuff. And somewhat it did. Like there were certainly advancements, but it also completely fucked them, I think, in the end. Because they had to just completely downgrade the game massively. And I still think about what would Dark Souls 2 be if they stuck with just the off-the-shelf Demon Souls DS1 engine, which is what we still have today. It's just been massively overhauled, as in-house tech does. Like that's just how it works. People mistakenly go, "Oh my god, I can't believe Bethesda is still using the same engine from, like 2002." And it's like, well, that's a really dumb way to look at it. But to be honest, like that's a stupid way of looking at it. That is not the same engine at this point. There may be like some lines of code from whatever that engine was back then, because if it did a function and it didn't break, well, they're not going to replace that line of code. Like, it works, okay? Like, there's even some, I think, like in Half-Life, because it was originally based on like the Quake something engine, Quake 2 or something like that, or Quake 3, I can't remember. And they still had like this really old line of code that handled some point lights or some shit. It was so. I don't know where I was going with that, to be honest with you. Not really interested in remakes, just like remaster on a technical level. Yeah, I mean, I think that's my preference for sure. Especially with Bloodborne. I think Bloodborne is definitely the remaster territory, because I think the base asset quality is good enough. Like, I think it's of a DS3 quality, and I think that's fine, quite honestly. Elden Ring obviously has a higher asset quality, but I think you'd be surprised by how little of an improvement in some ways it was. They're just not big on high poly stuff. They're not big on high resolution textures. That's just not their jam, And frankly, they're better off for it. Like DS3, there was still just a shit ton of low resolution textures. It was kind of crazy. I was like, oh my god. Like, it's just, it's really the geometry that got a huge boost in DS3. And, I mean, spawned from, like, Bloodborne in terms of being on that generation of consoles that now had actual fucking memory. They weren't limited to fucking 512 of total system memory. I think that really, like, unleashed them of, like, oh my god, we can finally put fucking geometry in these games. Which was pretty cool. And Dark Souls 2 was unlucky that it was the last one before the new generation of consoles. Like, I think Dark Souls 2, I try to imagine it if they hadn't created a new fucking engine or new chunks of it, and it waited just a bit and launched as a launch title on the new consoles. I think it would have been a completely different game. Like, it just, yeah. If they had not had those restrictions of the PS3, 360, I think it could have helped their development so much. Because, yeah, that's the thing Miyazaki said about the PS4. He was like, oh my god, it's so easy to develop for. Coming from the PS3, I think literally anything is easy to develop for. Because that was just a fucking nightmare. Okay, I don't have any humanity? God damn it. Okay, this is clutch. We're going to go clutch here. We're clutching up. Do I have it in the bag? Is he going to do the attack I like? Hell yeah, he is, dog. Oh, we're just doing clutch parries. Oh, you love to see it. Oh, I didn't get the good drop. You hate to see it. Damn. That's a bummer. Ooh. Wait, you don't chain backstab? No, I know you can chain backstab. Yeah, that, I don't know. I did that a few times, and I'm like, nah, okay. I kind of want to like face the danger, and if I don't parry well enough, I just get fucked. That's kind of my preferred method. But yeah, if I ever get myself in a really terrible situation with them, I'll start to just chain backstab. Which I think that's the thing about playing Demon Souls, is that you realize how bad like that game is completely destroyed by just backstabbing enemies. Just move to the right or left and just fucking backstab them. DS1, they kind of would do side jukes and they would do some kind of movements, but you could still mostly just backstab anything you want. I'm glad they sort of improved that. They saw all the clips and they were like, God damn it, these sons of bitches. Okay, don't hit me. Don't hit me. Oh yeah, I had to turn off the shadow casting from all of these objects here because they were set to dynamically shadow cast for no reason. Like it's an enclosed area, so there's no sun hitting it. So it's small things like that. And then I went in here and I like set some of these to shadow cast. I was trying to be crafty because this area I didn't strip out the baked lighting. And if I turn on shadow casting for this, it will ruin the illumination from the torch down here. So if you want to know like Dark Souls 1 modding in a nutshell, it's just a delicate balance of not fucking over point lights. So super fun. I wish I could tell it to not fucking do that. I think the shader overhaul mod, because that's the funny thing is that QLock accidentally left debug shaders in the system files. And I was like, yeah, that checks out. Because I'm really surprised that like, because obviously with Remastered, when you pull it up in DS Map Studio, you have all those like M99 maps that are like test maps and like cut stuff. And it does seem like QLock just completely forgot to archive, like throw their shit in archives, like all other FromSoft games. Into like BNDs and BDTs and all that. Like they just didn't. And I've always found that really weird. It's literally just all of the files are already unpacked. And I don't think that was intentional. I could be wrong on that, but it's the only example of a FromSoft game that functions like that. Everything else, they're thrown into archives. Some people speculate that the tools QLock had to modify the game were worse than the modding tools we have today. I would agree with that. I think that's pretty accurate. I think they also had bulk tools where they were generating things in bulk based on the original like whatever assets. Because I think that's where a lot of the mistakes come in. I think the tools were, I think it was a heavy, they needed a scalpel and they unfortunately, I think they didn't have a lot of time. So I think they just went in with like a fucking hammer and just converted shit in bulk over to like BC5 for their normal maps. And I think they just, I mean, they fucked up meshes, they fucked up like, there's quite a bit. And as I was talking about earlier, they didn't fix a goddamn thing in terms of like all of the fucking issues I found. None of them, as far as I can tell, like almost none of them were fixed and remastered. So I'm surprised we don't know more about that process. Like, I don't think we know anything realistically, like concrete. I don't think we have any concrete details as to how QLock handled that and how much time they were given, you know, how much money were they paid. I think the real thing to know is how much time were they given? Because looking at the game files, I think it's pretty clear they were given like no time at all. Because I don't think QLock is a bad developer. I don't think they're untalented. I think they are talented. I just think they were given like no money and no time, and they said fucking do it and do the bare minimum. Because there are things they did that were cool, you know. They did make new functions for the arena, and the way they did things is so different. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that. I like, that's the thing, is that there are certain things they did that were really good, and like everything had a specular map. Everything had a normal map. They added parallax occlusion mapping to a handful of surfaces, but like the functionality was there. They moved over to DirectX 11, and they were higher. The shadow rendering was a higher resolution, and the water reflections, the planar reflections, are higher resolution. Like there's a decent number of things that they did do, and like mesh LODs did improve. I have seen proof of that, and so some textures were higher quality. Thus far, I found very few cases where that's the thing. There was an interesting case in Anne Orlando where it's when you're going on the flying buttress or the trellis or whatever the fuck that thing is called. You're climbing on that. The roof texture. So in Remastered, that is oddly hard coded to look like dog shit. Like it's set to be 512 by 512, and no matter what you do to it in game, it looks like dog shit. I upscaled it to 2K, and in DS Map Studio, it looks great. It looks great, obviously pulling up the texture, and so like it's all stored correctly. But in game, there is something in Remastered that fucks it. And so I had to actually switch to a differently named texture. It's really weird. And in Prepare to Die, that was not the case. I was able to upscale it just fine. The game accepted it and went, cool beans, great. So there's just a lot of things I would like to know about that process for remastering it, because I think they've probably been unfairly maligned, I think, overall. Because we just don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Like, I just have to bet that it was a really fucked process. And I don't think Bandai gave them a lot of money. So, I don't know. So, like a DS1 remake, I'm actually perfectly okay with. I think it is like who you would get to do it. Because I think the things that you would fix in DS1, like I would happily send them a list. The modders, we've found most of the things that were wrong or very clearly not intentional. Because that's kind of the thing you have to look at is like, what is intentional and what is not. Like, for instance, right here, these objects being shadow casting, that was very clearly not intentional. Because there is no sun that is coming in this room. But by default, FromSoft makes 99% of their objects shadow casting because you can obviously destroy them. But this is a case where like there is no light source, and it's just little quality of, or not quality of life, but like it's just small details that I think they were rushing to finish this game, and those are in the grand scheme of things not important. And I agree with that. So I think there's so many things you can do with Dark Souls 1 to just improve it. And I think one of the biggest things is sort of what I was doing with my remastered mod that caused me to almost go hollow is unfurling the ungodly amount of fake map pieces that they would swap in and out based upon where you were at the map. And the other FromSoft games didn't have to do that really, like as much. Dark Souls 3 does use distant, lower quality meshes based on draw groups. It's a really shitty system, but they still use it. But Dark Souls 1, there's 3 or 4 versions of this balcony that swap in based on where you're at. And there's a map piece that literally is all of the trees, all of the mountains, and it's like a fake version of it, and there's overlapping meshes. And so like if you want to improve how Undead Burg looks, and I went through this process of deleting some of the fake ones, rendering in the higher quality ones at a greater distance, which means unfortunately then it looks like dog shit because they're overlapping, so you have to go back in, cut that off, and cut that mesh. And then they have some parts of the big fake meshes that are only in that mesh. So you can't get rid of some of the bigger meshes like 2510, 2380. You can't actually get rid of those because they have fundamental parts that are only in that mesh. And yet most of it is dog shit that you should be able to remove and then change the draw groups on the other meshes. So I'm glad this is a therapy session for me, but that was one of the most difficult things I had to do by far. But I think I may have fucked the game as well. Like my remastered mod, having people have their NPCs die and their bosses, some of their bosses die, and it's like super rare, but it still bugs me because I don't want that to happen to people. But like, I haven't found a good way to ever reproduce it. Not even once, you know, so that's kind of why I've been working on this mod, is that I'm not changing any of that. I made a small addition where you could see Firelink Shrine from Undead Burg, and I added the aqueduct. That was a small, easy thing. But the larger changes I made in the remastered one, I just don't really want to do that again. It sucked, man. And also, Prepare to Die does not have the performance overhead that Remastered has. If I would give credit to QLock for anything, it would be the performance of Remastered. It runs like butter, I think, overall. I think it is a wonderfully optimized game. And largely that's because the game itself is actually not like performance. You hoovered, just so you know. You hoovered. But like the optimization versus Prepare to Die, and I think mostly it's down to like Prepare to Die is like largely single threaded, and the way that DirectX 9 allocates memory and like texture loading and just so many things that QLock went to more modern standards. And then it was actually Rage Vitamins who makes the awesome Dark Souls 2 lighting engine mod. He was telling me about how, you know, Dark Souls 1 by default is forward rendering, right? And forward rendering is obviously still used in some cases, and they have hybrid approaches versus deferred, which got really popular during the like 360 era and whatnot. But for Dark Souls Remastered, they went to what's called forward clustered, which apparently is like the new hotness, and it's actually really fucking cool. And so, I don't know, I just think there's some really cool things that QLock did, and then some really not great things. But I don't necessarily think it was because they didn't understand the source material. I think it's because they weren't given enough time, and they had to do things in bulk. And so I think that's how you got a lot of the cases where the material response in specular maps and metallic stuff was not as good. I think that's kind of how you get those issues. Hey, buddy, what are you doing? Let me do chain backstab. You know what? Let's. Oh, I timed it wrong. Oh, you were polite to me there. Oh, shit. Nice clutch roll. Clutch roll. Can I parry you? Can you do the attack I like? No, okay, that's not the attack I like. To be honest with you, that's also not the attack I like. You're giving me no choice to chain backstab you. I gotta do it. Okay. I remember these guys used to like just absolutely steal my lunch money. And now, like once you know them, you're just like, oh, okay. Oh man, I didn't get good drops from either one of them. Fuck. Let's level up. I have made very minimal progress because I've honestly missed streaming. So I really like talking about all this nerdy shit because no one else, barely anyone in real life would ever talk about this, to be honest. So I think that's my outlet, is Discord and Twitter and now streaming. If there's weirdos like me that are like, man, this is interesting. This is some cool shit. Okay, I'm gonna be a hoe for vitality, as I always am. I am not one of the really cool people that can get through the game without leveling up their health. I'm like, nope, that's not me. I am not made up for that. It's pretty niche hobby, to be honest, which doesn't make it less interesting. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely a niche hobby, 100%. But I think it definitely helps that I think Dark Souls has one of the most like rabid fan bases in terms of like Dark Souls is never out of style. Dark Souls is eternal. I think it's one of those weird games that just people keep playing forever, and new people are constantly discovering it because of the newer From Software games. And it's one of the only developers I've seen where you play their newest game, like Elden Ring, and then you immediately go, well, I have to play all of the other ones. And that sort of long tail revenue is crazy. I think From Software put out some sort of statement, or maybe it was just them getting interviewed for something, and they were like, honestly, our financials are pretty good based on the old games alone. Like, the sales on those games are just fairly consistent, and they don't really go on sale terribly often, because I think we all know that they just don't need to do that, and they know that. So so this is an area where the dynamic shadows really helped out. Stripping out the baked lighting on the staircase, because by default it was very like gray, and it just would sort of like hamper any sort of shadow rendering. I love everyone always saying I've played every Souls game but 2 because one guy said you should skip 2. Yeah, I do find that pretty annoying. Anytime I see a Twitter post about that, I always like jump in there and be like, hey, you're starting Dark Souls 1, please don't skip 2. If you're going to skip 2, that's fine, but come back to it on its own, because I do find it to be its own experience. It is very different from the rest. I think there's a logical step from 1 to 3, which is the step I took. I actually did skip 2. I came back to 2 later, and I really loved it. At first I did not. And then it clicked for me, like, I think it was like 10 or 15 hours in. I was like, oh shit, I'm enjoying the hell out of this. It's really frustrating, but I actually can really appreciate what this is, right? But I now I have pushed people more to play Dark Souls 2 before you play Dark Souls 3, because there are, especially in the DLC, there are lore connections to Dark Souls 2. And some of the armor sets, and obviously the base game has some connections to Dark Souls 2, but I do think you get the full picture, because the Ringed City is like this really beautifully put together DLC where it's like a layer cake where you're going through Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, and it, like you go through Earthen Peak or whatever they call it in Ringed City, but they very clearly have references to Dark Souls 2. And I think that's really cool. I think there's been a lot of misconceptions about Dark Souls 2. Also, people are trying to like rewrite history, where they'll go, oh yeah, it's easily one of the worst Souls games, and it's universally accepted as that. And then I tell them, no, you should pull up the Metacritic score. Which one has the highest one? Dark Souls 2. Interesting. And yet you said it was universally hated. Like, and of course I'm not saying that reviews are somehow like objective, because no, reviews are literally someone's opinion. But it's wrong to assume that somehow the world always knew that Dark Souls 2 was terrible. It's like, no, there's always just been a small percentage of people that didn't view it to be, or just really didn't like it, and they were really vocal. I do rank it lower than 1 or 3. I've been very straightforward about that. I rank it lower than 1 or 3. Oh. What in the fuck? I made an oopsie. I made an oopsie in my mod. Alright, well. Guess someone made a draw group fuck up. Oh, shit. Hey, you get to see that they actually finally unload the Firelink Shrine highlights. Yeah, it looks good to me, right? I think this is intentional. I think I could still get through it, too. I remember it well. Oh my god, this is like Nameless King all over again. Jesus Christ. Yeah, this looks pretty good, right? Look at these dynamic shadows. Oh, that's like distant. I think that's distant geo. That's not actually. And that's a hallway. Wait, is that the... What am I looking at? Okay, the stream just got way more interesting. I'll fix this later, but I'll be able to make it through. I know this map too goddamn well by this point. Oh, the other thing that QLock should get credit for. I mean, maybe not a lot of credit, but they did add temporal anti-aliasing, which is pretty nice. It's not the best implementation of it, but we have to remember it was 2018. TAA has gotten a lot better since then, but it's a pretty serviceable implementation. And honestly, I would beg for DS3 to have TAA. Honestly, I'd give my left kidney if DS3 could have better anti-aliasing. It's such dog shit. It's so bad. Oh, it's still loading the fire on the outside. Okay. Like being able to see Drangleic architecture in the Ash Hills at the end of Ring City. Yeah, I think that's not like... I don't know. I've actually flown around the Ring City map, and I couldn't necessarily like definitively say that was Drangleic. But for me personally, I put that in my canon where I go, you know what? That is Drangleic. There is Drangleic out there. And like Anor Londo or whatever the fuck else. But I think it makes sense that Drangleic would be out there, right? Okay, bitch ass. You Balder Knights give me fucking trouble, dude. Oh, okay. That was rude. Oh, okay, alright. You know, hey, I have a stamina bar. Apparently you don't. And I think that's some BS right there. Also, I'm always afraid you're going to parry my bitch ass. Oh, baby! I want your armor. Your armor doesn't drop that often. I have to really work for your fucking armor. Hey, drop an eye. Ah, damn it. It looks close enough to me, so I just believe it. Yeah, I think that's kind of where I come down on it, where I go... I think it was... Because I hovered all the way over to it, and it's pretty low resolution once you get up close to it. But that distant geometry, I was like... It could be a generic, like, fantasy castle structure type thing. And so I think they left it a bit ambiguous, a little bit. So, but for me, I think it makes perfect sense. I don't think there's any reason why it wouldn't be Drangleic. Like, there's just no reason as to why. Like, you literally went through Earthen Peak earlier. So... Like, okay, why would there not be some part of Drangleic? And obviously Dark Souls 2 talks about that a lot. When they talk about, like, there's been hundreds of kingdoms that have been here before. And, like, I think we generally accept that Drangleic is not in the same spot as Lordran and whatnot. I think it's definitely, like, a different... Like, the world is big, right? So... It's obvious that, like, yeah, there are other land masses. So it's not crazy to think that the 4 Lord Souls during some cycle would have gone elsewhere. Like, that's not crazy. So I do kind of wonder why FromSoft... Oh, you love the shadows going through the map pieces again. It's great. Big Pisser. Love the name. First thing that comes to mind when looking at it, a bunch of sharp rocks pointing towards the sky, which is basically what Dragon Eyrie is. Oh, yeah, that's true. I can see some Dragon Eyrie action. I mean, Dragon Eyrie is easily one of the most cinematic places in all of DS2. Like, DS2 to me is just really uneven, where there's really awesome, like, art design moments, and then there's some really shitty ones. And it's just like a really up and down kind of experience for me. It's also the whole thing of Drangleic is like a little time bubble. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think it's very much meant to be... I don't think we need to concern ourselves where it takes place. I don't think that really... I think that's sort of just getting lost in the... You know, caring about things that just don't matter. But yeah, the way that you get there, it does seem like a sort of like dream-like... like you're tripping balls, right? And that's how you get to Drangleic. But man, you run into some lore people that are just really annoying. And I say lore people as like not actual lore YouTubers, because they're all really cool. But the like weird nerds that will come in the chat and be like, I know everything that happened and I know it canonically down to the minute, and everything I say is factual. And it's like, I think you misunderstand Dark Souls lore. Dark Souls lore does not function that way. It just doesn't. So, if you want to say you know everything 100% and what Miyazaki was thinking, well, you're just wrong. Like, that's just not a thing. So, just looking at you playing makes me want to play Dark Souls. Hell yeah. But then whenever I play Souls game, I want to play Bloodborne. Yeah, I mean, Bloodborne is so fucking awesome that I can't blame you there. I see them as different enough that, like, I know Dark Souls 1 is very slow for a lot of people, so it can be hard. I think it depends on what your first Souls game was. So I think people who played Bloodborne as their first one it can be hard to play the other ones as much. Because, yeah, Bloodborne is just completely a different animal. I love it. You think this mod would be compatible in multiplayer with the non-mod users? I guess there is that mod that is floating out there that, like, you can play Prepare to Die online, right? Like, it spoofs Steam into thinking it's a different game, right? But yeah, I maybe honestly, I think there's been some issues with the Dark Souls 2 mod and remastered. Like, people playing online, I personally have had no problem, but I don't play co-op. I don't ever summon in someone else. So, and also, like, testing that is just really next to impossible. I would say it half works. Like, I don't know. Yeah, if someone has the mod and someone doesn't. Yeah. But yeah, adjusting to Bloodborne it takes a while, because you basically, I didn't really lock into Bloodborne until last year. Like, I tried playing Bloodborne 3 or 4 different times. Anyway, we'll go play. Have fun, everyone. All right, thanks for watching and dropping in. I appreciate it. Yeah, Bloodborne, it was only on my, like, 4th or 5th attempt that it clicked. And I, like, yeah, the no shield, I felt naked. And it's not to say that I use a shield in Dark Souls all the time. Like, I usually go two-handed, to be honest. But there was some reason it just felt, I felt like I had an option that was removed for me, and I wasn't using the tools of Bloodborne the correct way, right? So once I sort of adjusted my mind to that, and the same thing happened with Sekiro. I tried playing that like 4 times, and I quit every time. And then the 5th time, or whatever it was, it just clicked. And I loved it. I rewired my brain, and I loved it. I was just having the time of my life. And Bloodborne, yeah, that's the real thing you learn with Bloodborne. They tune the enemies and the bosses to specifically punish you if you try to roll backward or you try to be passive. And that's the big mistake everyone makes, is you basically just need to be fearless and just fucking go for it. And Sekiro functions the same way, if not more so. Like, Sekiro, you have to just unhook that part of your brain that is afraid of dying. And you have to just go on raw skill and just go against the boss. And if you die, you die. But you do not be passive, because passivity? Is that a thing? Is that a word? It is now. That'll get you killed. So if you're going to die by being passive, you might as well just go balls to the wall. And if you die, you gave it your shot, and you learned something, and you came back. And so I really love that about Sekiro. You know, it really is the hesitation is defeat, and it's so fucking fun. It's so good. I hope more people play it. I think it hit 10 million sales last year, but I think it deserves like 30 million more. But it is very difficult, so I think it limits its player base with that, but I think that's perfectly okay. I'm the guy with the video about playing Prepare to Die Online. Oh, cool. Yeah. I did download I got online working with Demon Souls, RPCS3, and that was cool, because I've never played that online. I haven't played the remake either. Luckily, I started with DS3, which is a great middle ground. Yeah, that's true. Like, DS3 is a really great entry point, because you'll be comfortable with the speed of Bloodborne. Pretty much. You'll be like, oh, okay. Because DS3 has a ton of Bloodborne energy about it. It's got a lot of DNA up in there from Bloodborne. And that's apparent pretty much right away. So, yeah, DS3. Also, if you play DS3 first, when you went to Elden Ring, you were like, oh, I fucking got this. Like, it's very close. And yeah, I think DS3 is still has some of the best moments, I think, in like the Soulsborne genre. Some of the boss battles are just god tier. I think the second half of DS3 for me is just so good. It's like peak Souls. Of course, I think Bloodborne is like peak everything, honestly. Like, Bloodborne is just so fucking unique. And it's the game I've played the least. Well, no, Sekiro technically is the least I've played. Bloodborne, I finished it last year. I played the DLC in New Game Plus because I didn't know that it would kick you into New Game Plus right away. And I beat the bosses in New Game Plus, the DLC ones, which were... That DLC is... For me, it's the best piece of DLC I think, they've ever put out. It's just... The Old Hunters is just god tier. I don't really like the fishing hamlet, if I'm honest. I think you're meant to not like it, honestly. But I personally find the fishing hamlet to be not a lot of fun to be in. I think right up to Lady Maria, that DLC is just, it's so good. It's so good. And then the fishing hamlet, I'll admit, it goes a little bit down for me. I don't like it as much. And I don't like Orphan of Kos nearly as much as I like Maria or Ludwig. Not even close. But he's cool and he's very difficult, but I don't know. I don't really like the arena is fine. I don't know. Yeah, might be unpopular opinion. I just wish DS3's combat wasn't so basic. It's obviously more complicated than DS1 or DS2, which is obvious, I guess. Like that's a given because it's the third one in the series and it added weapon arts and stuff like that. But it's sort of like your meat and potatoes of Souls combat. It's nothing, super special or anything. And that's where Bloodborne had more freedom to like explore and like you're going to use guns to parry and there's trick weapons and and DS3 just kind of was like, hey, it's DS1 but it's quicker. And it has Bloodborne DNA in it in terms of like, I think how it looks, the speed, but yeah, overall I can see it being boring. It's the one I like to replay the least out of the mainline Souls games. I find, and this is intentional, I find DS3's world very depressing. And like I understand that Dark Souls itself is, a melancholy, mostly depressive game, but I think for DS3 they did it too well, where it just is really depressing. And I also think the first half of it is a bit of a slog, if I'm honest. Like, Farron Swamp, before that, Road of Sacrifices, and then before that is the Undead Settlement, right? And that's just a 1, 2, 3 hit combo that is rough. And I just don't really, and then even Cathedral of the Deep, I don't actually love that area, to be honest. Elden Ring added positioning, timing heals, and making it a little more necessary to learn boss patterns. Yeah, I think DS3, you definitely had to learn boss patterns. Like Slave Knight Gale and obviously, Dark Eater Midir, you had to get his pattern down. And so I still think there was timing heals in DS3 and learning boss movements. Elden Ring just gave you like, hey, what if you had endless combat options? And that's really cool, and that's what made it easier. There were just a lot more ways to complete stuff. And I think that's why I don't enjoy replaying Elden Ring nearly as much as I do the other games. It's too expansive, which is like a great achievement, but it makes replaying it just like the thought of it. I'm like, oh my God, like I got to put another 200 hours. Like obviously you can, that's kind of the other problem is that once you know the quick routes in Elden Ring to get the certain things you need to progress, it's hard not to gravitate to those things. It's just really hard to not do that. So it's less fun for me because I'm constantly aware that I could just run anywhere, but I've already seen everything. So that's kind of the key component of Elden Ring is exploration. And once you've done that, subsequent exploration is not nearly as fun. It's not. And DS3 and DS1 are no longer, and DS2 are no longer about exploration for me. I have explored them. I know basically everything that's here, but I like that I have a set path to go and I don't need to worry about that. It's all about how I tackle it. And that's the fun of it. And I think Elden Ring hinges it a lot more on discovery. And that's really cool, but it just kind of sucks for subsequent playthroughs. I feel like it was trying to get blood out of a stone because I replayed it a lot. Like, I really did. I played the shit out of Elden Ring. And every time I felt like I had a little bit less fun because I just did. Oh, I had experienced more. I had, and so it just, I don't know. It's not the one I think I'll replay the most. I put a lot of hours into it. I'm very excited for the DLC, but I am hoping that they kind of go back to their wide linear design. And also just I don't need a 200-hour game. I really don't. I think it was cool, but like if you want to do future games, I think you could really target how long like Bloodborne is. You could really just keep it around like that. I think that's a meaty amount of gameplay, but it's not. I don't need 200 hours. I really don't. I'm okay with a smaller amount that I will replay a lot. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. Oh, I'm gonna get more coffee. I'll be right back. Maybe I'll put something on my OBS. Text. Yes, text GDI. Be back soon. Coffee. Elden Ring's DLC was open world, but shaped more like DS1. Yeah, I mean that's true. I think yeah, if you centered it more around like how DS1 functions and because yeah, like can you consider DS1 an open world? No, but there's a lot of ways to go, and it is a big game world that you can tackle in many different ways. And like, so I think you blur the lines there a little bit. I think a lot of open world is actually not needed. There's a lot of open world where it's just nothing. Like, I don't actually care that I can go in any direction I want because there's just a lot of nothing, you know? Like, I think Elden Ring did a good job of having, like, interesting things over a lot of hills and different places and, caverns to go in. And I think it was really good at that. But I don't know. I don't need a world that is that expansive. I would much prefer quality over quantity. A tightly designed Bloodborne experience to me is just like that. That's top tier. But I know everyone has different sort of expectations for that. But for me, that's peak like from software is those tightly controlled like Bloodborne. I love when I found out that Miyazaki did like the layout himself. Like that's so cool. That's what I love to hear. Is he's like, oh yeah, I laid out Yarnum myself. I was like, dog, you're so fucking cool, man. Like, okay, that's a really shitty message, but I think it gets the point across. I'm gonna go get coffee. I need gamer fuel. Yeah, I'm finally back. Jump scare. I ended up getting food and going to the bathroom and taking the dog out and, you know, all the classic adult things, or if I was playing The Sims, essentially. Okay, let's take off. Yoink. I need to go ring the first bell. I need to go ring the first bell of awakening. That's the goal. With an unupgraded weapon. That's my mini challenge mode. Easiest challenge mode ever. But for me, I am not amazing at these games. I do need... Oh my god. I need fast roll, more or less. Yeah, no shield, unga bunga. This is the beef jerky build, just so we're clear. It's always been fascinating to me that personally I've had near infinite replayability with all 3 Souls games. But with Elden Ring, I have done 1 and 3/4 playthroughs and have no urge to play it again. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. It does not draw me in to replay it like the other games. And I think that's okay because I have all the other ones to play. So for me personally, I'm kind of like, okay, that's fine. Not all of them have to be as infinitely replayable, but yeah, I think I do wonder how common that is, because that's definitely the case for me. I love it, and I think Elden Ring is probably the most, probably the best game I've ever played. I think overall, probably, you know, but it's definitely it's not my favorite. Let's put it that way. Okay, well that was rude. Okay, well that was double rude. That was super goddamn rude. Not having a shield on these guys, yeah, it really sucks. Hey, some of us have stamina bars. Okay, well, now I kind of don't, so it's fine. Drop your armor, dude. Drop your fucking armor. I need it. I want it. I want some more of it. Oh, fucking dancing bitch ass. Oh, I get to single hit him with the... Oh, fuck. It's kind of a slow wind up, though. Oh, boy. It's a slow wind up. Oh, shit. I'm going to burn all my Estus. Oh, not you, too? I thought you were still going to keep dancing. Oh, that actually, like, stopped him for a second. Oh, fuck. Okay. Yeah, come around the corner. Classic corner strat. Okay? Don't do your hopping hit, okay? Wow. Triple kill. Oh, triple kill. Nope, double kill. That was close. I almost had it. Almost. All right, it's just me and you, big boy. Hey, hey, bitch ass. Hey, drop your cool shit, okay? Maybe not. Oh man, yeah. See, these I need to turn off shadow casting because they are not being impacted by any light source, but such is life. I turn these off, I think. Yes, yes. Give me the large soul. I'd love to see it. Thank you. Okay, I have 7 flasks. Let me also put any humanities I have. Oh, I got 5. Come on. Okay, I got 12. I got 12 heals. 12 heals. We're doing pretty good. Oh, I think I can summon Solaire for this, right? I usually don't do that, but I've done it like once or twice. All right, let me get a little bit of coffee. Okay. One of the best views in all of gaming. It's so cool. I think they really accomplished quite a bit with the PS3 limitations that they had. Like, you get this really giant map piece, and like, of course, there's nothing behind it, so it's not very geometric, but it works, and it looks good. I like how much trickery went into that era of game, because you honestly had to. Like, you just didn't have any other choice. You did not have the system memory to do much of anything. Oh shit. I also upscaled their wings and their body. That was last night for funsies. I think I'll also be heading out now since I have to be up early tomorrow, but it was always nice hanging with you as always. Thank you, Yoshi. Hope you have a good night and a good day tomorrow. And you're gonna miss a very triumphant, actually no, probably a loss. I suck when the second guy gets here. I'm really bad at it. Oh shit, that damage is actually pretty fucking good. Oh, stamina management is tough though. Ow, hey, okay, that's rude. That was rude. Okay, that was double rude. That was... okay. Hey. Hey, can you bleed? No, you can't. At least it doesn't seem like you want to. Which is honestly like fucking... Okay, that was great. That was great. That was a great attempt, everyone. Dark Souls 1 Pro right here. I also try to remind myself tomorrow to hit you up about getting the... Oh, yeah. DM me on Discord. I try to look at my Discord DMs once every 60 years. No, I've gotten better about it. I messaged... Someone today messaged me about it, and I sent them the link. It's also not a scammy link. That's actually the nicest part. It's just archive.org, actually, but it's a little hard to find on your own. I think it was somebody in my Discord that actually linked it to me. But I tried searching for it on my own, and woof, it was hard. All right, Beef Jerky Man, try number 2. He's got this. Okay, motherfucker. I hate you, and I hate everything that you stand for. But give me that goddamn bleed. Oh, bitch ass. Oh, drop. Oh, fuck, man. Can you drop your armor? The Baldur Knight armor is pretty cool. And you also get to show belly button. So I think that's... Oh, fucking super jump over here. Oh, okay. Double super jump? Yeah, great. Triple super jump? Okay. Luckily, y'all suck at climbing ladders. Well, I mean, you're actually pretty decent at it, but... I got a head start. Oh, look at that. I only burnt 1 flask. Yes. Okay, bitch ass, you're just gonna run straight at me. That's fine, I got you. I whiffed like a motherfucker. Oh, I got his axe, which unfortunately sucks. I was very disappointed the first time I got the axe, and I was like, oh, okay, it's just a shitty weapon. Okay, cool, got it. Oh, I'm living on minimal stamina here. Oh, no. Oh, hey, he's not even at 50% yet. That's against the rule. Ah, okay, the refs are helping them on this one. This seems rude. Oh, I hit his goddamn wing, and I got the same damage? Oh, shit. Alright. Hey, do you guys not have bleed build? Like, is that a thing? Oh, okay, I fucking killed his bitch ass. I thought I could do bleed builds on these guys, or bleed procs, right? It seems not. Oh, I love the jump. Super jump. Okay. Oh. Super jump. Super jump. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, that was fucking easy as hell. Ooh, I got the halberd too. So I got the axe and the halberd. You'll notice, like a flight attendant giving a tour of the sky that we're in, if you look on the right side, you'll notice I upscaled the nasty Sen's Fortress distant textures because by default, this is, of course, not the real Sen's Fortress. This is a fake mesh, but it's a decent one. And they use like the lowest resolution textures known to humankind. So I just did it the simpler way, which is upscaling those versus bringing in the real Sen's Fortress. That was not necessary. And I also regret doing it in my remastered mod. There was no good reason to do it. At least looking back, I don't think there was a good reason. Okay, so we got the first bell of awakening. I feel great. Oh, I still never upscaled this ladder. Fuck. Because it looks nasty. Looks like ass. But that's not surprising. Most of the ladders in this game look really disgusting. Or Disgusto El Barfo, as it is officially known. Alright, let's ring a bell. Let's ring a bell. Give me that sweet cutscene. Yes. Yeah, I think the other thing that's a bit annoying is the cutscenes are like technically 60 FPS, but also not. It seems like the animations or the characters update at 30 FPS, which would make sense that like because obviously the game was released in a state where like you could only run it at 720p 30 FPS. So it doesn't shock me that there'd be some sort of shenanigans with that. All right. Oh yeah, I was just gonna homeward bone, right? Yeah. Let me eat one of these bones. Which now that I'm thinking about it, I think you eat the bones, right? Or the homeward bone. You have to eat it because it disappears, right? Canonically. Okay, let's take those off. Let's put our souls on the bar so we can chunk them down real fast. Yoink. Very nice. Let's level up. I've done too much in vitality, so let's go all strength, baby. And now I have to get to Blight Town, which I'm not super happy with at all. I hate that idea. Well, I could also go to Dark Root. I think I'm trying to do the game as quick as possible, more or less. Let's see what this guy has to say. I didn't expect you to make it. That was me. You're not wrong. Okay, bud, you're a bit of a downer. You're a Debbie Downer. Oh, what up, nerd? Okay, actually, no, hold on. Can you? Yeah, go back this way. No, can you? Nope, didn't mean that. Didn't mean that. Nope, didn't mean that. Hey, collision? Can you update? Can you? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Collision? Okay, well, I didn't download a mod. There you go. Jesus Christ. They made that one hard. Give me that FAP ring. Give me the goddamn FAP ring. I need it. I want it. I want some more of it. I forgot that my other character, I forgot the way that it loads is that it just picks the top character. Yeah. Shocker, I'm in the painted world. And I was upscaling textures while I was here. And I added dynamic shadows to some of the map pieces. Not all of them are eligible, but some are. And so you get this nice little shadow off the big pillar here. Pretty cool. I'm basically doing it to whatever map objects that I can that doesn't fuck up lighting, basically. And that's a big issue for a lot of the game. Let me get my Uchi out. My plus 13, I want to say. Uchi Katana. Oh, the blood shield. Oh, I didn't know it did like status effects. Looks fucking cool though. Love it. Yeah, let's log out of this guy. I'll never remember that in Prepare to Die you have to actually like pick the character that you specifically want. It will not default to who was last playing. Unfortunately. Yes. Yes. Good. Give me that FAP ring. Oh, baby. I guess we'll go down to New Londo and then head towards Blight Town, which I'm going to hate, but it's the quick way. And I still have an unupgraded weapon. So, oh yeah, that was the other thing I fixed in here. I don't think I actually said it on a video either. This room was artificially very bright, and there's no good reason for it. It just was, and so I basically had to change the lighting ID to I think it was another one that was used and already, and it basically darkened it to how the room I think should look. So that was one of the few like artistic changes, but I think it's one that makes a ton of sense. Like I don't think they meant for that room to be god awfully bright. Like that just doesn't make sense to me. So I think that was just one of the oversights. That's kind of the tough thing with modding Dark Souls 1 is you have to sort of play the game of, was it FromSoft intentionally doing this, or did they just kind of fuck something up? And that's a delicate balance because I don't think I'll ever get it 100% right. I think that's impossible. But oh, I never upscaled this cliff wall. Damn. Okay. Or this. I think I did some of Blighttown though, if I remember correctly. Oh my god, Blighttown. Oof. Also, this game is just a lot darker than Remastered, from what I can remember. Okay, the dog is trying to destroy something, so I'll be right back. Okay, the dog actually was not trying to kill something. It was just her bone. It just sounded loud as fuck. Blighttown and DSR is the worst. Yeah, it's a bit more noticeable for sure. Like it still happens in Prepare to Die. Specifically like how green it is here, and then you step out a little bit and it just goes red. And FromSoft was not. Yeah, here you go. So it still happens in Prepare to Die, but I think Remastered made it a little bit worse. But yeah. And then I forgot how bright Blighttown is in Prepare to Die. And I think in Remastered too. So for me it's hard to differentiate between base Remastered and then my mod because I was playing with my mod non-stop, so it kind of warps my perception because it's hard to like forget that. So My mod, it was a lot darker, but that was actually intentional. I wanted it to be darker because I felt like Blighttown would be darker. I had someone complain to me about it, and I was like, yeah, I mean, you know, that checks out. Oh, I'm toxic? Oh, fuck you. I'm gonna go for the fucking... I'm gonna go for the cat. Oh, wait. Oh, no, shit. That's not the one. Oh my god, toxic is so fucking bad in this game. Okay. Whew. I'm eating it! Ah, okay. Got the Firekeeper Soul. Whoa, whoa. Okay. Can I make it out of this? Probably not. Absolutely not. That did not work. Nope. But I got the Firekeeper Soul. I'll go talk to my lady. I should have gotten one from the New Londo Ruins while I was there, to be honest, but I don't know. I'm tempted to, I don't know, sort of go through remastered, kind of like redo my remastered mod. Like, I'm not starting from scratch, obviously. I've done so much work that would go forward with it. I think I would redo the MSB files. I would kind of put them back to default and then fix the small rendering issues here and there. I think my distant meshes is a cool idea, but unfortunately, I think it's caused a lot of issues. And I'm not sure that it was worth the trade-off. And if anything, I'm not even sure that that is the issue. You know, so I don't know why people have some bosses that are dying. Like, maybe I shouldn't worry about it as much because it's only like 3 people have ever reported it. So that's actually a pretty good like ratio, I think, among people who have downloaded it and then people who've had that issue. Although it could be that people are having the issue, but they don't report it. So, like, you know, I don't know 100%, but it is definitely more frustrating working on that mod because it's just infinitely more complex what I'm doing with it. So, let's see. Like, there's something interesting to me. I've always wanted to do it, but it might be a good opportunity to merge the ideas because basically I think the most popular idea would likely be if I basically tried to make remastered render everything just like Prepare to Die does. I think that would be a pretty popular idea. So, and also an interesting challenge because the way that they handle things is different, and so the settings, unfortunately, are not 100% transferable. I think some of them are, but there's a decent chunk that are not. And I learned that the hard way by trying to copy over some of the settings. In remastered, it just looked like way worse. So you'd almost have to like just keep fiddling until you somehow get it to look like Prepare to Die. But the problem you have there is like, well, you're not really going to be running the games side by side, right? Because I mean, my computer is just clearly not good enough for that. So, I don't know. I think that's a difficult problem because it's I don't know, and also it's not like scientific. I'd have to just be doing it like eyeball it, and so I think I would get it to an acceptable point, and you know. But anyway, I think I would start with the Prepare to Die settings, and then cause I think I can figure out what needs to be tweaked to make it function in remastered. And I think that's normally down to like the diff setting from what oh my god, rip. Oh boy, that was not great. I am not a pro at Blighttown, clearly. Oof. That's a big oof. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Also, you'll notice sometimes when you get on this elevator, there's actually, because this elevator is actually not part of the Firelink Shrine map. It's actually part of New Londo Ruins. And so it's loading it all the way from up here. And so that's why that the elevator is differently colored than everything else in the room, because it uses a different draw param. And I made the mistake in my Dark Souls Remastered mod of basically copying the settings from Firelink Shrine, and I was like, oh, okay, I can put that in the draw param for New Londo Ruins, right? So then I can make the elevator look like it fits in Firelink Shrine. Well, the problem there is that when you ride the elevator down, it no longer fits, because then it doesn't match up to New Londo Ruins. So you sort of have to accept that it's not going to look perfect in either place. But I made it sort of a middle ground where it looks okay in both spots. So classic Dark Souls 1 modding issue with the way they handle maps. And it's kind of nice when you go over to like Dark Souls 2 and 3. They just didn't have nearly as many of these issues at all. You don't need to worry about overlapping map pieces, you know, like they just had a lot less issues. And I think Dark Souls 2 specifically was because of the way they laid out their maps. They were just not connected at all. Like they just didn't need to worry about that, and that is admittedly very freeing when I'm working on Dark Souls 2. I can just say, fuck it, man. Fuck it in a bucket. I don't need to worry about that. It's like a vacation from Dark Souls 1 modding. Oh, man, I'm poisoned. No. Alright, let me get my souls, and then let me not fuck this up. Oh, baby. And then I know exactly where to go, so I can be beef jerky, man. I need to unbeef jerky myself, because then I think I get the Mildred lady, right? Let's rolling. Oh yeah, the collision here sucks ass. I also don't know why they just randomly were like, hey, we're gonna shove a shit ton of torches at the bottom of this. Is that cool? For no apparent reason. They were just like, you know what? Let's just chuck that shit. Oh, actually, I went the wrong way, didn't I? Yes. Treble 6. Yo, what's good? What is good is that I died twice on my way to Blighttown. And I have rectified that mistake. And I'm getting to the bonfire right now. I'm playing my Prepare to Die Edition Remastered mod, which has made great progress, mostly by not working on my other mods, which has annoyed some people. But I think I've been pretty clear with, you know, me working on whatever I want to work on, more or less. Did you go through the depths of the valley? I went through the Valley of Drakes. I rarely do the depths route anymore. I did that on my other character in this game because I didn't have any save files, so I had to start new characters. And I basically mod as I go through the areas, so I did actually go through the depths. And it actually wasn't that bad this time. I usually fucking hate the depths, but I've gone through them enough times that I know it decently well. But yeah, it was still ass. The depths is probably my least favorite area of Dark Souls 1, which I know varies for everyone, but that one to me, I just really fucking hate it. Hey, I feel like poison goes up faster in Prepare to Die right here. That poison bar is a lot shorter than it is in Remastered. Am I gaslighting myself? Because I'm pretty sure that's nutty. That's way quicker. That must be tied to like 60 FPS or some shit, because that's nuts. Oh fuck my ass. Okay, hey, let me get the Proud Knight. Let me slurp up his little soul. Okay. Can I do Quelaag? First try with an unupgraded reinforced club, which sounds kind of weird, but it's got bleed on it, which did not work against the gargoyles, but I think that's because they're like stone, so like they're immune to that or some shit, which would make sense if they don't have blood, you know. But it's like trying to make a skeleton bleed. That's just not gonna happen unless it's like fucking Bloodborne or something. Let's hope I have one of those moss clumps as well. Luckily poison is pretty slow, so I don't think it's gonna be like the worst, but fuck it. I have enough health, that's for sure. I am gonna check this, make sure I have my humanities on my bar. And you know what? I'm also gonna put the bombs. Oh, gold pine resin. Oh shit. Okay. I'm gonna have fun with this one. I'm gonna throw bombs at her, and we're gonna beat her bitch ass. That's what's gonna happen. Okay, I'm gonna gold pine resin this bitch. I didn't use any gold pine resin. I would say large chest ahead, but I can't remember. Is it normal chest ahead? You know, like as for boob size, it's decent. I mean, I would say it's good. You know, don't get me wrong. Like, all boobs are great. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's pretty solid. That's pretty good. Chaos Witch. All right, we got our gold pine resin. Oh hey, don't hop. I don't like the hop. The hop is bad. The hop is very bad. We really don't like that. Oh, your side barf? Very uncool. Yeah, I never got the grass crush shield yet. So, my stamina regen is... Oh, fucking cock-ass, bitch-ass, tan-ass, hoe-ass. You chucked me into the fire. That was very uncool, and I did not appreciate it. Just so you know. Also, fire bombs are probably going to be the least thing effective to you, like, of all time, but I think it'd be... Wait, are you totally immune to it? Oh my god, you're 100% immune to them. Well, okay. I guess I didn't imagine you'd be like 100%. I thought it would be like gradual? Oh wow, yeah, they just don't do fucking anything. Okay, well, duly noted. Okay, do your lay down attack, right? Do your lay down. Oh, bitch. Oh, shit. Okay, let me get my gold pine resin to... Oh, okay. Hey, chill out. Chill out. Are you relaxing? Are you just kind of like chilling? Like, yeah, do that move. We love that move. Okay. Yeah, run over here. Yeah, I'm up on your little angle that you apparently cannot see through or attack. Oh fuck! Oh fuck! Oh fuck! I love how FromSoft had that like one wave file for that explosion. They're like, you know what? We're just gonna keep reusing that. It's so good, we're never gonna stop using it. It's like, okay, maybe switch it up every once in a while, you know? All right, slurp down and Estus. Okay. Oh, your sidebar? Very uncool. Oh, I ran out of gold pine resin. Okay. Okay, alright. Let's run back to neutral territory. I have one gold pine resin left. Use that. These are pro strats here, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, my god, I thought you'd actually hit me with that, to be honest. Ow, I got tagged. I played Prepare to Die Edition in November. Hell yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of Prepare to Die Edition mods. It's still a pretty big market for that. Well, I mean, not currently for like new ones, I don't think. So I don't expect my Prepare to Die Edition mod to really do the numbers as it will, or as it would, or as it... I don't know what I was saying with that. But then again, I'm not doing it for that reason anyway. I'm just doing it because like, it's cool. Yeah, Prepare to Die has mods for textures and all kinds of things. It's got every kind of mod you can imagine. And then Remastered, they got a lot of the ports for it, and ported mods. But there's also mods that are only on Remastered. So as they do function differently. Yeah, specifically visual mods for Prepare to Die. There's a lot. Very inspiring mods. I would say a lot of them are older, just because the game is older. So that's kind of where I think that's part of the motivation behind mine, is it's using 2023 caliber AI upscaling, whereas some of the older mods just didn't have access to that, so they would have used more traditional upscaling methods, which are fine, but they're just not as good. It's the one use of AI that's like actually pretty good, honestly. It's very good at sort of having a data set for like materials and whatnot, and using that to yeah, upscale. Hey, I killed you. I did not kill you. I actually no. Oh, I'm so stupid. I dove into the fire. I thought she was dead. Oh, man. That was going to be first try quite lag. You know, not like a hard thing, but just, fuck. Okay, that sucked ass. God damn it. I swear I hit her and, like, I was like, that's enough to kill you. But she was mid, like, explosion. So, like, I guess... And then she still had health left. I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. I was pretty confident that that was the last hit to kill her, but I flew too close to the sun on wings of pastrami, and I was punished for my arrogance. So let's roll it back, and I will now be doing it without any gold pine resin, which sucks ass. Wow, pro boulder dodging right there. Not bad. As you can tell, I've been in this area for like... I've just been modding this game for so long, it feels like. It's only been months, but like... It's just been hundreds and hundreds of hours spent in these maps, loading in the game. And I exclusively don't do it with any debug mode, so I'm not invulnerable or anything. Noticed any slowdown? Yeah, kind of your classic Prepare to Die edition slowdown for textures. The way I'm doing it is admittedly different. Most of the texture mods for Prepare to Die edition were facilitated through DSFix, where DSFix would have its own folder for like texture overriding, and then it would like sub them in when needed. I kind of just bypass that, and I just mod the textures directly, and then directly modify the TPF files. So like, I haven't really noticed, I think, that much of a difference in terms of like how they load. But I felt like if there was a way I could skip a step or remove an extra step that DSFix is doing to swap in the new textures, I was like, let the game load the textures as it normally does. They just will be larger than it's used to. So there is a little bit of hitching here and there when it's loading in new textures. Unfortunately, it's just not very efficient at loading textures. That's just sort of how Prepare to Die Edition works. It's not very good at it. Remastered is better at it, mostly because it's like multi-threaded and it's DirectX 11, and it's just all around better. But it still has issues with 4K textures, weirdly enough. I did like one texture and it was 4K and the game just wouldn't load. It was pretty funny. I use DSFix for some of my mods, and I bet if you mod the files directly. Yeah, exactly. That was my thinking, is that like, is it probably a huge difference? No. But I could see it being a difference, a minute one. So for me, I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to, because that's what I do with Remastered as well. I just modify the TPF files directly because it's just, I think it's just easier that way. I haven't really found there being a time savings for using like the texture packer unpacker system to sub in the textures, or like I just go fuck it, I'm just directly editing them, so I'll just save them and like yabber them back into their files. I will say Prepare to Die Edition is so much more fun to mod because Remastered, a lot of the things are stored in DCX files, which we obviously know is classically FromSoft's like format that they like to use. But in Prepare to Die Edition, there's a lot less of that being used. So I don't need to yabber like 3 different things every time I modify a texture. It's awesome. It's really cool. And it also makes the mix and matching of different texture mods way easier, because basically the way that I would be distributing them is literally each individual texture, like M15 wallstone.dds, right? Instead of how remastered works, where you actually, they all funnel into these 4 different giant TPF files, and you have to yabber it back into that big file for the game to even recognize it. But Prepare to Die Edition, when you unpack it, it doesn't need to do that. It's honestly great. It's so much more fun and quick, modifying Prepare to Die Edition. I get why people sometimes mod it as the first platform and then they port it over to remastered later, because I think it's just a little bit more simplistic. Which, hey, bitch ass. That, oh, fuck, oh, shit ass bit. Okay, this is how the first attempt is always really good, and then the second attempt is really shitty. So this one I'm doing with less flash, less damage. Ugh. I still have humanities, though. So, like, I never got a bleed proc on her, though. Oh, fuck my ass, fuck my ass. Thank you. Also, I'm playing with the sound off for me, because I'm not wearing headphones, so I don't really get the audio cues as much, but I think it's less stressful. Also, my dog is going crazy outside my door. Oh my god, dogs are just, oof. Yeah, some mods like the Lost Isles content. Yes, yeah, that was King Boar, the legend, the absolute Dark Souls modding knowledge emporium. It was utterly ridiculous. Or not emporium, maybe? Encyclopedia. I think that's what I really meant. No, I haven't downloaded that mod yet. I really wanted to like try it though, because it's really cool. I love how they modified Bed of Chaos, because we obviously know that boss fucking sucks. And even Miyazaki's like, yeah, it's not great, Doug. So the fact that he made it into like an actual functional boss is really cool. Yeah, King Boar knows some things that I have no goddamn idea about. Like all that event scripting and like boss scripting, that's crazy. That's so impressive. I marvel at that, because I'm like, I don't know fucking any of that. Oh my god, a bleed proc! Fuck yeah, finally. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I really want to try it out. The problem for me is that, like, I haven't tried out a lot of things because, like, I'm actively modding all of the games, so it's tough to, like, I don't ever want to accidentally upload someone else's mod or even, like, a part of their mod by accident. Like, I really want to avoid that at all costs, so I tend to, like, not install other people's mods, just to be sure that I'm not accidentally doing that, because that would just really suck. So it kind of makes it harder to download mods. Although actually for Remastered, I ended up duplicating the entire file system for it, so I can work on one mod in a separate folder and then just change the name of it and then load up my other mod. So that's one way. I could literally just have a whole separate folder for like a personal remastered game where I just have my own mods that are installed on it. Yeah, like Bed of Chaos is just, I just, no, it sucks. It's one where it's like, no, that's pretty much universally accepted. It's like just a really shit boss, man. Because you can tell that they had ideas for like a cooler implementation of it. And that one is just really shitty. I just don't like it at all. Crazy they made this game in such little... Yeah, I mean, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think they made a lot of mistakes with their games in terms of, like, technically. Obviously, modding Dark Souls 1, I have found endless mesh issues, rendering issues, shadow issues, just, like, you name it. Like, it's fucking got it. And I think that's due to how they were developing so many games at once, in succession too. Like you had, like Dark Souls 1, 2011, Dark Souls 2 was 2014, Bloodborne 2015, Dark Souls 3, 2016. I think that's their busiest like era of game development, and I think it showed in that there's just a lot of errors in those games. Like Dark Souls 3, I found a decent chunk of like mesh issues and torches that are turned around the wrong way, and like it's, you know, obviously Bloodborne has the fucking floating statue in Old Yarnum. It's hilarious. I love it. You know, it's one of those things that you're like, they had to know about that, right? Because they updated the game, but like they never patched that out. And I wonder if it was just like a joke for them, you know? Where they're like, well, no, we're not going to get rid of it. It's funny by this point. Like, people already saw it, so. Yeah, I do think, yeah, Elden Ring, they actually, like, spent the fucking time on, and it shows. Not to mention, even Sekiro, I think, is another example of, like, they actually took enough time to make a really fucking great game that didn't have a shit ton of issues. I have found small things in Sekiro, like floating objects, but you know, that's pretty classic of FromSoft. I'm not super surprised, but like, yeah, Bandai Namco definitely was like, we like money, and we would like you to keep making the games and just make them as fast as you can. And it had its downsides, and you know, FromSoft obviously during that period also was like, we'll make a game with Sony, and then later we'll make a game with Activision. So I think Bandai Namco is lucky to still have the relationship it has with FromSoft. Arguably, that relationship may not have existed had Sony been nicer to Demon Souls. You know, because famously they just didn't like Demon Souls. Like they genuinely hated Demon Souls. They were like, that shit is tough. The player testing is bad for it, and we're not going to publish it in the West. And I think that's something they definitely like regret, because obviously they could have. Oh fuck my ass! Oh, absolutely not! Please don't kill me. Oh god, the explosion didn't hit me. Dude, you go like sicko mode, dog. Oh, are you dead? Please tell me you're dead. Okay, you're dead. Whew. Yeah, they wanted Dark Souls 2 before the first one ever came out. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, well, and that's the weird thing, is that it ended up being Atlas that published Demon Souls in the West. And, you know, that was a boon for them, I suppose. I don't know how Bandai Namco sort of, like, comes into that. I don't know if they bought the publishing rights at some point, or they were simply the publisher for the PC version that ended up coming out, which I'm, of course, playing now. Well, or no, I'm thinking of the wrong... What am I thinking of? Demon Souls was Atlas. Yeah. Yeah, Atlas was only in North America, and only for Demon Souls. And then it was Bandai after that. But yeah, I still think Sony is definitely out there. Oh, they published it in the EU. Oh, okay. So Sony must have only published it in Asia, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I definitely think Sony is gonna, because they obviously came back to them with essentially like a blank check for Bloodborne, and they were like, hey, so forget about what happened with Demon Souls. We just didn't like it. We were wrong. And here's a lot of money, and you can work with Japan Studio. And I know there was some recent news stories going around about that. Yeah, it was Shuhei Yoshida who famously was like, I didn't like it. I fucking hated it. And then, of course, he ended up like platinuming Bloodborne, and he now obviously loves From Software. But yeah, that was, at the time, I could see it just was sort of a shock to a lot of people, and it still is rough around the edges, to be fair. Like it is, even playing the remaster or remake, I mean. It is a obtuse game, and yeah, it's one of the more, I think it's easy, but the areas can be pretty tough. Like Valley of Defilement, woof. Fuck that area, man. That area sucks. Alright, let's go. I usually kill the Firekeeper down here to get the soul, but I also like to be able to warp to this place, honestly. I think you just have to sit at it. Right? Oh. Wait. Oh. No. Yeah, this one. Got it. Got it. Yeah, they wanted an Oblivion clone. And yeah, they didn't get it. They got something that was vastly more difficult. Um, good for Miyazaki, sort of just going, no, we'll keep it hard. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And then I think they had some, I mean, not really trouble, but like during Sekiro, I think Activision sort of told them, hey, that dragon rot thing you guys are doing? Can you make it not kill the NPCs? Can you make it just like make it where your unseen aid is a lower percentage and you'll get those little messages, but like it doesn't kill them? And it does feel like that would be Activision going, hey man, yeah, yeah, yeah. They were being pretty crafty with developing that. They were plucky, and they were just like, I love that now they're just so established that they can do whatever they want, and no one will say anything because they're now just massively successful, and they could literally go to any publisher right now and be like, hey, we have an idea for a game, and before they finish the sentence, the publisher would be like, yes. What do you want to do? Anything? You want a racing game? Sure, why not? A From Software racing game? Why not? I'm sure it'll be great. It is weird to see them in that position, but I'm glad that they're like really strong with their sort of game development mindset of, no, we don't need to make our games easier. Like, I like that they're very strong in that, where they just go, no, we're like, they didn't expect Elden Ring to do even like half of what it did, and obviously when it did, Miyazaki's like, well, I don't know why it was so successful, but okay, I mean that's cool, I think that attitude helps them a lot, because they're just doing what they like to do, and then if they end up being successful, cool, that's great, because they honestly, I think they make enough money on their old games. Like, it was in some financial statement or something, they were like, oh yeah, or I think Bandai was talking about it, they were like, yeah, the old games, honestly, like, they sell pretty fucking consistently, and as we know, they're not on sale terribly often, so it's a pretty good chunk of change that they get from all of the older games. Probably the least from, Bandai doesn't get money from Bloodborne, but I mean, I guess From Software does. I don't know how that would work, but Bandai wouldn't. Katakawa would. And then, interestingly, Sony owns a decent chunk of From Software. I can't remember what percentage it was, but smart move. I think they ended up buying a lot of the shares after Elden Ring came out, and I'm like, oof, you really missed a good opportunity there to buy it before Elden Ring came out, but whatever, to each their own. I get it. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Sekiro definitely was successful enough to fund, the other Activision related things. Of course, I don't know what the revenue split was, like how much Activision took. I would assume it was pretty sizable. I am happy that Microsoft owns them now, so we can finally, eventually, get Sekiro on Game Pass. Please and thank you. Sekiro rarely ever goes on sale, and it'd be real cool if it was on Game Pass, because I want more people to play it. That's really what I want, and if it's on Game Pass, that just means more people are going to fucking play it. Because I think it had like 10 million sales last year is what they announced, so like those are great numbers, and I think Bloodborne, now that we had those leaked numbers, so it ended up being like 8 million, I want to say, or something like that. Which some people were still convinced it was down at like 2 million. And I'm like, no, that's because they didn't release the numbers for fucking ever. Bloodborne has obviously still been selling. So, like, no shit. Yeah, Activision, my God. Come on, guys. Can you put it on sale once in a fucking while? Because, yeah, Sekiro, I'm like, damn, man, I had to wait for a long time to get Sekiro on sale. I was like, I'm not willing, I don't want to pay the 60. Like, they totally deserve the 60, but, like, can you put it on sale a little bit? And then they did. I think it was, like, half off or something. And I was like, hell yeah, man. But yeah, hopefully they get a little bit better with that with Microsoft. Not to mention most of it will go to Game Pass. So at that point, like, who cares about the sale price? I'll just, because Game Pass is still outrageously cheap, I think, for what you get. And specifically, I use Game Pass PC. I don't have an Xbox, but I played Lies of P through Game Pass, so I love that. I'd still like to own it on Steam just because I love it and it's good enough and they deserve the money, and I would happily. But yeah, Sekiro definitely will be on Game Pass at some point because Activision still has the publishing rights as far as we know. I don't think that was ever set to go back to From Software. I'm glad From Software owns the IP though, from at least what we know. I was happy about that. I did not want Activision to own that IP. That I was like, because I already like Sony owns the Demon Souls and Bloodborne, which to be fair, that doesn't really. I don't think that matters a ton because it's not like From Software was going to do anything with those IPs anyway. Like, were they going to touch Demon Souls again? No. From Software absolutely was not. I don't really know why there's people out there that are like, oh yeah, I can't wait until From Software starts remastering their products or projects or games or whatever. And I'm like, well, they don't do that. That's not their thing. They've never done that before. You can technically consider Scholar of the First Sin, like Xbox One and PS4 release, the closest that they've done in terms of graphical improvement for something. But generally, no, they don't fucking touch their games again. Like, they didn't do Dark Souls Remastered. They had nothing to do with the Demon Souls remake, from what we know. So, like, I don't know. I always find it weird that people think that's going to happen or that they even want that to happen. I don't think FromSoft, they're not good at that. That's not their thing. Like, I don't want them ever focusing on that. Please make new games. That's what you're awesome at. And I would only have it that way. Pay other people to remaster their stuff. That works fine because there's people that are really good at that. I think Dark Souls 1 is just a really great candidate for a remake. Now, having said that, do not delist the previous versions like you delisted Prepare to Die Edition. That would be my caveat. You can remake it, but don't take away my other versions, okay? You already took away one, so I gotta pirate it. At this point, I don't even consider it pirating because you didn't give me a legal way to buy it, so I don't know how that can be called pirating at that point. Y'all just tried to make it disappear from the internet, so what other choice did you give us? And I hate when they go, well, just buy a remaster. I'm like, well, okay, they're different. Like, they're different enough that Prepare to Die editions should have stayed an option to purchase. Like, it's as simple as that. So hopefully Bandai Namco has learned from that. That's like the only time I think they've done something specifically shitty, at least from what I can remember, because they didn't delist the vanilla Dark Souls 2. That's still purchasable. So I don't know. I'm not sure what the Prepare to Die edition thing was. That was just... I don't know. I think maybe they were just embarrassed by it. Because it's just a really bad port, But I also think it's kind of cool because it's just busted and the modders had to fix it. So from that angle, I think it's actually kind of a cool testament to modders, really, if anything. And their love for the game. Like, DS Fix is still one of the most impressive pieces of mod work I think we've ever seen, really. Like, it's pretty awesome. And it's crazy to see the actual publisher and maker of the Prepare to Die Edition do literally nothing to fix its issues, mostly. Like, they just kind of left it to just be a big pile of shit. And the modders were like, well, right, it's our only option. Like, we'll fix it. Because I didn't know that From Software, like, originally didn't really have any plans to make a PC version. I was a bit surprised that it really took, like, public awareness and, like, sort of what would you call it? But like actual public pressure and fervor over it for From Software to go, all right, we'll actually do it, and it ended up being terrible. But it's better than nothing. I'm very happy that they did it because it's the most accessible version that gives me the original vision. Right, like I can also emulate Dark Souls 1 on PS3, like the RPCS3 emulator. That's my other way of, or the 360 version. That's another way that I can sort of like get the original vision, but I find Prepare to Die Edition to be a vastly better way of doing it than emulating the PS3 version. It also runs better, mostly. Yeah, let me go rest at the bonfire. I've rung both bells, which means Sen's Fortress is open. Sen's Fortress you run through in 2 seconds. And then Anarlando, and we still have an unupgraded weapon. Ornstein and Smo would be very difficult. But I think for now I'm going to call it there. That was a good stream back. I had fun. I'm glad everyone who tuned in. My internet, this was also a test to see if my internet was stable enough for streaming. And it turns out, yes. I had 0 dropped frames for the entire stream, which was 3 hours and 20 minutes. So that is sick nasty as hell. Like my other internet would kind of go out and it sucked. So yeah, I plan on posting the VOD on a VOD channel I made, and then I never posted anything. So yeah, but I'd like to stream more often. If like every other day or something. I don't know. It's fun. It's nice just hanging out with people and talking. I think some people expect me to mod while I'm streaming, but I really dislike that. I tried it and I didn't like it. It was too many cooks in the kitchen. Was kind of the vibe I got, and it's really hard to focus on modding and doing a good job at it when you also have chat, because I want to talk with the people. So I found that to be just something I didn't like. I respect the people who can do it, but woof, I did not enjoy it nearly as much. So I kind of like hanging out, and then while I'm playing the game, I can see the bugs that I need to fix, and then I can go fix them. But like fixing them live, I think is also with Prepare to Die, it's a lot harder because Prepare to Die Edition, from what I've tested, does not like display capture, but it almost like requires game capture. It really fucking hates display capture. So, yeah, dude, you're so chill. Yeah, I appreciate that. That is genuinely my vibe. I'm a very chill person in general. I know it's not going to be for everyone, but I kind of like just talking about the things that we've all learned about Dark Souls and like the history behind this map piece here. Well, this one used to be over there, and I think it's actually just a lot of fun to stream that and then just share information while playing arguably my favorite game of all time. I really want to stream Bloodborne, though. I need to get an Elgato. And I had to buy a PS4. I was borrowing my brother's PS4, but I moved. We'll be back. Hell yeah, dog. Yeah, Dark Souls requires you to be chill. That's true. I've gotten really good at it. But yes, I've played it so much that at this point, I can't imagine myself ever raging anymore because I've just played every encounter endless amounts of time. And usually when I fuck up, it's absolutely my fault. And even when it's not, I think it's funny. And the game is fucking quirky. And I think that's part of the charm. So I don't know. I don't find myself, freaking out or anything. But I definitely want to do a Bloodborne playthrough on stream because I think that would just be so fucking awesome, and I just want to play it more. So I just want to play it. It's so good. But anyway, thank you for tuning in, everyone. And too much emotion and you miss a roll. Yeah, exactly. But I do enjoy watching people who play it for the first time and like rage and like get emotional, and like I think that's really cool. But for me, I'm kind of past that point because I've seen too much. I've been through the deepest, darkest Miyazaki poison swamps a million times. So I'm already hollowed at that point. And I don't think anything's really gonna We'll see with the Elden Ring DLC, because I, of course, will not have known what is in there. But I think I've attuned my brain to the Souls formula maybe too much, and I just, yeah, it doesn't affect me in that way as much anymore. Even Tomb of the Giants, maybe Valley of Defilement. I still fucking hate that place. That place is that's the worst goddamn swamp. On Miyazaki's first swing, he makes the worst one. Who would have known? But anyway, yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. And I'll probably post on Twitter about where the VOD is posted. If anyone, why anyone would want to watch 3 hours of that, I don't know. But if they do, I'll give them a spot to watch it, you know? And they can eat food or something. And look over once every like 10 minutes and go, yeah, he's still doing some stuff. Cool beans, great. That's my wheelhouse. So anyway, I'll see you next time.